Chapter 37:27. The young girl turned to look at the crowd and nodded coldly. Junior Sister Lee, you're here. Lee Rulin frowned and approached the bed. She looked at her left shoulder and asked, Senior Sister Lu, what happened? Didn't you see it? Lu Jun said faintly. His arm was cut off. Who did this? Lee Rulin said through gritted teeth. Lu Jun said, Jishan of the Reincarnation Temple. It's him. Lee Rulin turned to look at Chu Li. Zhou Jinshan gritted his teeth. What a benevolent bald donkey. I won't forgive him. Lu Jun glanced at him with her bright eyes and said indifferently, Senior Brother Zhou, you'll die if you run into him. AI. Zhou Jinshan punched the stone table, causing several cracks to appear on it. Lu Jun frowned. What are you trying to do? Zhou Jinshan sheepishly withdrew his fist. Junior Sister Lu, I can't do anything to this bald donkey alone. Let's go together and beat him to a pulp. Lu Jun replied snappily, Alter Leader Moai, the White Tiger sect, the Flaming Sun sect, and the Tian Luo sect attack him together, but he beat us to a pulp. Zhou Jinshan frowned and said, It can't be. He looked at Chu Li. Chu Li said, He cultivates the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture, which allows him to leverage his opponent's strength. He's least afraid of being surrounded. In fact, it's even easier for him to be surrounded than to fight alone. Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture. Lu Jun said hatefully, Damn the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture. Her eyes were cold and sharp as she looked at Chu Li. You are? Zhao De, Lee Rulin replied. I think I've heard of this name before. Lu Jun furrowed her long and thin brows and thought for a while. Zhao De. The light blade, Lee Rulin replied. Oh, that's right. The one you lured into the mountain. The one with the highest level of the light blade. Lu Jun came to a sudden realization and sized him up. He's really ugly. Chu Li glared at him snappily. Lu Jun said, However, it doesn't matter if a man is ugly. The key is that he has the ability to master the light blade to such a high level. He's really good. Much better than these embroidered pillows. She cast a sidelong glance at Zhou Jinshan and GXIN. Zhou Jinshan smiled sheepishly while GXIN's expression darkened. Lu Jun said, You two go ahead. Senior Sister Li and Junior Brother Zhao stay. Junior Sister Lu, we're not busy. Zhou Jinshan said. If you guys aren't busy, I'm busy. Don't be an eyesore here. Lu Jun scoffed. Let's go, Senior Brother Zhou. GXIN pulled Zhou Jinshan along and strode away. Zhou Jinshan was dragged out reluctantly and complained, I still want to stay a little longer. Why did you humiliate yourself? GXIN scoffed. Senior Brother Zhou, with Senior Sister Lu's attitude, why did you insist on getting close to her? Zhou Jinshan said, Lu Shimi has a sharp tongue, but a soft heart. She has that kind of temper. She has a sharp tongue, but a sharp heart. Only you, Senior Brother Zhou, think that she has a soft heart. GXN shook his head and said, I really can't like a woman like her. Go away, what do you know? Zhou Jinshan waved his hand. GXIN scoffed. She won't even look at me if I'm not strong in martial arts. Once I'm strong, she'll smile at me. She's too snobbish. Zhou Jinshan laughed. Junior Sister Lu doesn't care about appearance, but martial arts. It's just like how you care about beauty. What's wrong with that? I think it's much better than looking at appearance. You? GXIN shook his head. Only the three of them were left in the courtyard. Chu Li stood still while Lee Rulin sat on the couch and said to Lu Jun, Save them some face. Oh, are you feeling sorry for your senior brother G? Lu Jun pouted. He's just an idiot. You treat him like a treasure. Senior Sister Lu. Lee Rulin frowned. No one was perfect. Although Senior Brother G had a lot of flaws, he had a lot of good points too. One should not look at a person's flaws, or they would not be liked. Lu Jun scoffed. All right, do whatever you want. You'll suffer in the future. Junior Brother Zhao, did you fight with Monk Shan? Chu Li shook his head. It's not really a fight. I just escaped from him. You're amazing to be able to escape from that stupid Monk Shan. Lu Jun said. Can't the light blade deal with him? He has a special skill that allows him to avoid the light blade. Chu Li said. I can only play a trick and escape. Hidden weapons can't deal with him. Lu Jun nodded. The musical assassination technique won't work either. In short, he's like a monster. He single-handedly defeated falling Autumn City. It's so embarrassing. Is he invincible? Li Rulan asked. I can hurt him even if I have to risk my life. Lu Zhan pointed at her missing left shoulder. I just gave him a blow. Unfortunately, it's not a serious injury. Senior Sister Lu, you should change your temper. Li Rulan shook her head. You're at a disadvantage too easily. Altar leader Mo should be at the front. The Holy Church of Light did not have a rule of sending low-level disciples to their deaths. Whoever had a higher position would be at the front. This was an unspoken rule. I can't stand him being so arrogant. Lu Zhan scoffed. Li Rulan sighed and did not say anything else. Lu Zhan said, You should leave quickly in case that stupid monk comes again. If that's the case, we'll stay, Li Rulan said. One more person means more strength. That stupid monk is ruthless. Lu Zhan scoffed. I lost my arm, but a female disciple from Tian Luo sect died. Chu Li's expression changed. He quickly asked, Senior Sister Lu, who are the masters from Tian Luo sect? They were brought by phone, Lu Zhan said. You know the disciples from Tian Luo sect? Chu Li's expression changed again. Li Rulan glanced at him. She knew what he was worried about. She asked, Senior Sister Lu, what's the name of the dead female disciple? How would I remember that? Lu Zhan pouted. She came with Bai Feng anyway. I didn't remember. Chu Li's expression darkened. Lu Zhan was shocked. You don't know her, do you? Are you involved with a female disciple of the Tian Luo sect? His appearance did not seem like it would be able to move the hearts of the Tian Luo sect's disciples. The female disciples of the Tian Luo sect had all experienced the mortal world and had seen through the barriers of love. It was very difficult for them to be moved by a man. He rebuilt the Radiance clan and stirred up a storm in Gale City, Li Rulan replied. Lu Zhan was even more surprised. The Radiance clan has been rebuilt. Chu Li nodded absent-mindedly. The omniscient mirror covered a 10-mile radius, but Bai Fo was nowhere to be found. Where's Senior Bai? Chu Li asked. Isn't he in town now? At the east side of the city. Lu Zhan said. The 4 major sects will each guard one side. There's no need to guard the north. We'll just guard the mayor's mansion. Chu Li wanted to go and take a look. Lu Zhan said, Bai Feng will probably be here soon. This batch of medicinal pills will be distributed to the other 3 sects. Li Rulan said, Then let's wait. Chu Li nodded slowly. Li Rulan sighed. Senior Sister Lu, what will happen to you in the future? I still have my right hand and my martial arts. That's enough. Lu Zhan said. Chu Li was impressed. It was rare to see such open-mindedness in a man. She was a delicate woman with a cute appearance. One would think that she was going to cry. It's a pity that you can't cultivate the Azura power technique, Li Rulan muttered. I heard it can regrow severed limbs. The bloody garment divine power can also regrow severed limbs, Lu Zhan said. Li Rulan asked, Should we find a way to cultivate it? Lu Zhan rolled her eyes at her. Cultivating the Azura power technique will drive you crazy. The bloody garment divine power is the ultimate technique of the Church of the Divine Blood of Fu Dynasty. How can it be taught to outsiders? Chapter 3728. He fist saluted. Senior Sister Lu, I'll take my leave first. Lu Zhan said, Don't rush. Junior Brother Zhao, your cultivation level is too low. Why are you so weak? His martial arts was crippled by a master from Haizong Mountain, and he's cultivating again, Li Rulan said. No wonder, but it's rare that he managed to escape from Monk Zhishan with such a low cultivation level. It's rare. Lu Zhan smiled pleasantly. Senior Sister Lu, you're flattering me. Chu Li fist saluted awkwardly. Lu Zhan ignored his ugliness and was very enthusiastic because he was skilled in martial arts. To Lu Zhan, a man's charm came from his abilities. A man who was strong enough was truly charming. Those who were weak in martial arts could not be regarded as a real man. Good looks were useless. She had a unique way of thinking. Lu Zhan's eyes sparkled as she sized him up. Her admiration was obvious. Li Rulan coughed. All right, Junior Brother Zhao, you may leave. I'll talk to Senior Sister Lu. Chu Li fist saluted and left. Lu Zhan watched Chu Li leave before looking away reluctantly. My eyeballs are going to fall out, Li Rulin said. Lu Zhan looked at Li Rulin. Junior sister Li, you're so lucky to have met such a person. He has a bad temper. Li Rulin shook her head. He pisses me off. I really don't know if he's the guide or if I'm a guide. It's inevitable that he's arrogant. He has the right to throw a tantrum. Lu Zhan said, You let go of such a good man and fell for senior brother Ji. You're really, what nonsense. Li Rulin rolled her eyes. Lu Zhan said, Zhao De is 100 times stronger than him. Ji Xian's martial arts is ordinary and he's narrow-minded. You'll suffer if you follow him. If you don't listen to me, you'll suffer sooner or later. Senior brother Ji is a patrol too. He's not bad, Li Rulin said. Lu Zhan pouted and did not say anything else. Senior sister Lu, your thoughts are too extreme, Li Rulin said. She understood why Lu Zhan had such thoughts. Lu Zhan's parents were disciples of the Holy Church. Her father died in a war and her mother was crippled. Although she stayed in the Great Light Peak, she was still inferior to others and had to suffer. That was why Lu Zhan had been longing for a strong man to rely on since she was young. That way, she wouldn't have to struggle in this world. But Lu Zhan herself was very strong. She practiced martial art with all her might. Her aptitude was also very high, so her martial arts skill was far superior to his. Among the younger generation of male disciples in the cult, no one could beat her. The reason why she was only a patrol was because she was focused on cultivation. She was always in closed-door cultivation and rarely left the mountain to perform meritorious deeds. Otherwise, the position of altar master would be within reach. Being crippled this time was a huge blow to her. It was definitely not as light as it seemed on the surface. When Chu Li arrived at the main hall, it was bustling with noise and laughter. It was extremely harmonious. The Holy Church of Light's spirit pills were very sincere, so the other 3 sects were very happy. Bai Feng was dressed in a white robe with a white veil covering her peerlessly beautiful face. She was sitting in an armchair with a young woman. Her eyes were clear and cold, and she was out of tune with the laughter around her. Mo Qianjun sat in the main seat. Below him were 2 middle-aged men from the White Tiger sect and 2 middle-aged men from the Flaming Sun sect. Chu Li could tell their identities from the heart technique they cultivated. The masters from the White Tiger sect and the Flaming Sun sect were all extraordinary. They had reached the level of an elder and were inferior to Mo Qianjun. When he stepped into the main hall, he attracted everyone's attention. Bai Feng was surprised. Young Master Zhao. Chu Li gave a fist salute and smiled. Greetings, Senior Bai. Bai Feng asked, Why are you here? Didn't you just become an Inner Mountain disciple not long ago? She knew the Holy Church of Light's rules. Disciples who entered the peak were not allowed to leave the mountain for the first year and had to focus on cultivation. Chu Li smiled. I've accumulated enough meritorious deeds, so I can leave the mountain and increase my experience. I see. It's not difficult for you to do so with your abilities. Bai Feng nodded. Don't forget to go back to Gale City. Miss Bai, this is... A middle-aged man from the White Tiger sect asked. Bai Feng glanced at him. Jing Guanyin, he's Zhao De. Zhao De. Jing Guanyin's expression darkened as he stared at him. You're Zhao De? Chu Li's expression darkened as well. It was completely different from how he treated Bai Feng. He nodded proudly. I'm Zhao De. Have I offended you? I'm Jing Guanyin from the White Tiger sect. So you're from the White Tiger sect. No wonder, Chu Li said proudly. What do you have to say? We've heard that your light blade is powerful, Zhao Dajiang. We'd like to learn a thing or two from you. Jing Guanyin scoffed. Chu Li spat out. You're courting death. Brother Jing. Mo Qianjun coughed softly and hurriedly said with a smile, Now is not the time to spar. After this big battle, I will definitely not stop you from sparring with Zhao De. We need to work together now, don't you think? Fine. I'll let him go for the time, being out of respect for you. Brother Mo. Jing Guanyin nodded and scoffed. Zhao De, just you wait. Chu Li glanced at him and did not say anything else. Bai Feng shook her head. Ignore him. He's crazy. Jing Guanyin glared at Bai Feng, but did not say anything. Chu Li smiled at Bai Feng and took a deep breath. Where's Yuru? Yuru. Bai Feng shook her head and sighed. Chu Li's expression tensed up. She didn't follow us, did she? No, Bai Feng replied. She's still in isolated cultivation. Her progress isn't going well, so she can't afford to be distracted. Chu Li let out a long sigh. It's good that Yuru didn't come. Her martial arts isn't at this level yet. She'll die if she comes. Bai Feng nodded and frowned. It was obvious that she was reminded of her fellow disciple's death. Mo Qianjun quickly said, Zhao Dajiang encountered monk Ji Shan on his way to falling Autumn City. The main hall fell silent. Everyone's eyes flickered as they looked at Chu Li. Mo Qianjun said, in the end, Zhao De escaped from monk Ji Shan. Jing Guanyin glanced at Chu Li. Altar leader Mo, do you believe that? You've been tricked. Chu Li sneered and glanced at him before looking away. He was too lazy to refute him. Jing Guanyin was furious. He sneered. What, am I right? Bai Feng said, Jing Guanyin, can you stop for a while? Miss Bai, do you believe what Zhao De said? Jing Guanyin asked. How could he escape from monk Ji Shan? Could it be that he's working for the reincarnation temple? Bai Feng narrowed her eyes and said coldly, I wouldn't believe anyone else, but I believe young Master Zhao. With his current cultivation level, can he defeat monk Ji Shan? It doesn't matter how powerful the light blade is. Jing Guanyin scoffed. Moreover, monk Ji Shan is good at dodging hidden weapons. The light blade might not work. Chu Li nodded. He can indeed dodge the light blade. That's not it. Jing Guanyin became energetic and quickly said, What did I say? You can't even last 2 rounds against monk Ji Shan. Everyone remained silent and looked at Chu Li with inquiring eyes. Chapter 37:29. Mo Qianjun smiled. After Zhao De's martial arts was crippled by the Haicang Mountain disciples, he's cultivating again. He'll be able to recover in no time, and by then, he'll be able to deal with monk Ji Shan. Jing Guanyin said, Brother Mo, don't interrupt us. Let me ask you, Zhao De, how did you manage to escape from monk Ji Shan and return safely with such a low level of martial arts? He was finally relieved after hearing Mo Qianjun's words. His previous attempts to test Zhao De were foolish to cover up his motives. Even if he did not find an opportunity, no one would take it seriously and just laugh it off. The sect used the honey trap on Zhao De and managed to calm him down. However, the sect was still filled with murderous intent toward Zhao De. Jing Guanyin finally concluded that Zhao De did not use a secret skill to hide his cultivation level. Instead, his martial arts had been crippled. This was a rare opportunity. If he could kill Zhao De, the White Tiger sect would look down on him, and he would gain great prestige. Chu Li said coldly, Do you think I survived because I surrendered to the reincarnation temple? That's right. Jing Guanyin scoffed. Chu Li disappeared from where he was and appeared behind Jing Guanyin at the same time. He patted the back of Jing Guanyin's head, and when Jing Guanyin turned around to throw a punch, Chu Li appeared at his original position and looked at him coldly. Now you know why I was able to escape, right? Jing Guanyin's expression darkened and his body turned cold. Chu Li laughed coldly. You're such an idiot. You're thinking of killing me to gain merit. Dream on. Jing Guanyin's expression darkened even more. Your light body technique might not be better than Ji Shan's. Ji Shan can take your head off so easily. Chu Li scoffed. If it was that easy, he would have taken it off long ago. You wouldn't be talking nonsense here. You. Jing Guanyin glared at him. Junior brother Jing, forget it. Another middle-aged man from the White Tiger sect stopped him and scoffed. Stop fooling around. Senior brother Zhu. Jing Guanyin gritted his teeth and let out a sigh. Zhu Wenhan fist saluted at Chu Li. Young Master Zhao, please don't take it to heart. Junior brother Jing is just a blabbermouth. Don't lower yourself to his level. Chu Li cast a sidelong glance at him. One is fighting while the other is trying to stop the fight. Good move. Zhu Wenhan was secretly angry, but he smiled and waved his hand. Young Master Zhao has indeed misunderstood. Mo Qianjun smiled and said, All right, De, don't be so insistent. It's inevitable that there will be conflicts when there are too many people. It's fine as long as we talk things out. However, he said that you have joined the reincarnation temple and became a mole. He is indeed shooting his mouth off. Chuli said, Altar leader Mo won't be so suspicious, right? Absolutely not. Mo Qianjun waved his hand and said, I have never doubted the loyalty of our holy church's disciples. Chuli gave a fist salute. This Mo Qianjun looked bold and generous, but he was actually a sinister fellow. Every word he said hit the nail on the head, fanning the flames. In the end, he would come out to extinguish the flames, manipulating everyone in the palm of his hand. Namo Amitba. Suddenly, the sound of a bronze bell resounded through the air and filled the entire hall. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Zhishan's red cowl fluttered in the wind as he stood in the middle of the crowd in a flash. His wide cowl fluttered even though there was no wind. He pressed his palms together and bowed to the crowd. I'm here again. Chuli frowned as he looked at him. Monk Zhishan also looked over and pressed his palms together with a smile. It said that the monk can run away, but the temple can't. This is indeed true. I've finally found you, almsgiver Zhao. Chuli asked, You're here for me? I'll send these almsgivers away as well and send all of you to the afterlife. Monk Zhishan glanced at the crowd and pressed his palms together. I'll chant for all of you and send all of you to the Western Paradise. Bai Feng's eyes were spitting fire, but she did not move. Her killing intent was like a sealed volcano that could erupt at any time. She gave the young lady beside her a look, but the young lady shook her head. She did not want to escape alone. Mo Qianjun shouted coldly, Zhishan, don't think that we're afraid of you. 2 lunar chakras flew out from Monk Zhishan's wide sleeves. With a whistling sound, one of the lunar chakras swerved to the right while the other swerved to the left. Mo Qianjun quickly said, The Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture can borrow other people's strength to fight against them. He'll use everyone's strength to deal with others, so try your best to dodge and don't fight head-on. The crowd immediately retreated when they heard this. One of the lunar chakras swerved toward Jing Gunyan while the other went for Bai Feng. Zhishan could sense Bai Feng's killing intent, so it was best to get rid of her first. Furthermore, with her beauty, it was best to get rid of her as well. Jing Gunyan quickly retreated, but the lunar chakras seemed to be able to sense the wind that he was moving and chased after him. A white silk flew out from Bai Feng's sleeve and wrapped around the lunar chakras. The white silk looked weak, but it was made of a special material that was unusually tough. It was difficult for swords and spears to damage it. Under the lunar chakras, it was like cotton. The lunar chakras silently cut through the white silk and sped up toward Bai Feng. Swoosh! A flying blade hit the lunar chakras. The lunar chakras instantly flew into the air and continued to spin at a high speed. Then it slowly fell and lost its killing intent. Chuli ignored the other lunar chakras and allowed it to attack Jing Guanyin. Jing Guanyin was getting more and more exhausted. The lunar chakras were getting closer and closer to him, and he could not get rid of them. Ding! Zhu Wenhan, who was beside him, could not sit still and watch. He threw a punch, and his fist energy hit the lunar chakras from afar. The lunar chakras suddenly sped up and turned into a black shadow that spun past Jing Guanyin. Jing Guanyan's head flew into the air, and a pillar of blood rose 10 feet into the air. The lunar chakras spun past Jing Guanyan's neck and continued toward Zhu Wenhan without any resistance. Chuli shouted, Deal with Zhishan. As soon as he finished speaking, he shot a blade energy at Monk Zhishan. Monk Zhishan shook his head, and a silver-white chakras appeared in front of his throat to block the blade energy. Ding! The chakras were made of a strange material that resembled jade and stone. Those who heard it could not help but fall silent. Their killing intent and anger dissipated. Mo Qianjun and the others shot toward Monk Zhishan. Monk Zhishan faced the crowd and suddenly waved the silver-white chakras. Instantly, a ball of white light shot out from the chakras toward the crowd. He kept waving the silver-white chakras, and rays of white light shot out like suns. Some of the people tried to block it while others tried to dodge it, but none of them were able to escape. Chu Li did not dodge the white light. Instead, he threw a punch. The white light collided with the fist force and penetrated his body without any resistance. It was extremely powerful and domineering. He quickly performed the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture and transferred the force out. The green bricks under his feet cracked like a spiderweb. His body was strong, so he was only slightly injured when he transferred his inner energy. It did not matter how serious it was, so he recovered quickly. He transferred half of his inner energy and turned the other half into his own inner energy. Then, he threw another punch at the white light. Bang! When the two forces collided, he took 2 steps back. At the same time, he turned his feet and left 3 footprints on the green bricks. Monk Zhishan stepped in front of Baifeng. The silver chakras disappeared from his hand and reappeared in front of Baifeng's chest. Ding! The silver chakras was suddenly hit by a flying blade and flew past Baifeng's ear. Baifeng broke out in a cold sweat and almost ended up like Jing Guanyin. Monk Zhishan waved his hand and the silver chakras flew back to his hand. He waved several balls of white light toward the crowd and then stepped in front of Chu Li. Ding! The silver chakras blocked his throat and the blade energy was dispersed. Then, he sent another hand seal toward Chu Li. Chapter 37:30. Monk Zhishan chased after Chu Li closely. His loose red robe fluttered in the wind as he stepped in front of Chu Li and pressed his palm down. Chu Li saw a pattern of a lunar chakram on his palm. It was as black as ink, as if a miniature lunar chakram was imprinted on his palm. It was faintly shining with a black luster. He shot out his blade. Swoosh! The energy blade let out a shrill whistle that was extremely swift. He used Monk Zhishan's palm energy to activate this blade. The combination of ferocity and softness resulted in a strange whistle that was shockingly powerful. A silver-white chakram blocked his chest. Ding! The clear sound lingered in the air. Everyone calmed down, and their killing intent decreased. They could not help but want to stop fighting. Chu Li retreated and shot out another blade while he was in midair. Ding! The clear sound was heard again. Everyone's movements slowed down. After the silver-white chakram blocked the flying blade, it went back into Monk Zhishan's sleeve. Then, 2 lunar chakrams appeared. The black lunar chakrams whizzed toward Baifeng and Zhu Wenhan. Chu Li shot out another blade and deflected Baifeng's lunar chakram. He ignored the other lunar chakram. Zhu Wenhan watched as the lunar chakram whizzed toward him like a shadow of death. He was furious and wanted to kill Chu Li with one punch. If Chu Li had left him in the lurch, junior brother Jing would not have died, and he would not have been able to block this. Zhu Wenhan raised his voice. Brother Imo, are you still going to stand by and watch? Imo Qianjun shook his head and smiled bitterly. His cultivation level was the highest among them, but he could only unleash one divine light fist. Monk Zhishan kept the lunar chakram in front of Baifeng and met the divine light fist with his palm. Bang! Amidst the muffled sound, he blocked the punch and disappeared from his spot. He reappeared in front of Chu Li and pushed his palm out. His palm seemed slow, but it was unbelievably fast. It covered every angle and left no room for escape. To him, Chu Li was the biggest hindrance. The flying blade could block the lunar chakram, but Chu Li's cultivation level was the lowest. Of course, he had to get rid of him first. Chu Li helplessly swung his fist to meet the attack. Bang! He was sent flying again and spat out another mouthful of blood in midair before he crashed through the window. Just as he was about to turn around and escape, Monk Zhishan appeared in front of him in a flash and swung his palm down again. Chu Li shot his blade at the center of his palm. Ding! Full Moon, which was chasing after Zhu Wenhan, flew over at high speed, blocking his palm. Chu Li seized the opportunity to escape. Monk Zhishan did not chase after him. Instead, his red robes fluttered as he dashed toward the backyard. He landed in front of Lu Zhen and Li Ruolin, who were in the middle of a conversation. 2 lunar chakras whizzed toward the 2 women at lightning speed. Chu Li almost cursed out loud. He had no choice but to return to Li Ruolin's side. Li Ruolin raised her voice and said, Why aren't you leaving now? If I leave, all of you will die, Chu Li said snappily. Lu Zhan flipped over and rolled down from the low couch. The crescent moon soundlessly cut the low couch in half. Li Ruolin turned her body sideways to avoid the full moon. Chu Li shot out energy blades from both his hands at the same time. Ding ding. 2 crescent moons rose high into the sky and floated down. Bam! Monk Zhishan took a step forward and hit Lu Zhan with his right palm. Lu Zhan barely managed to block the attack with her right palm. She crashed into the wall beside her and spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face quickly turned pale. She had used a secret skill, and her vitality was greatly damaged. In addition to her previous injuries, her body was in a weakened state. Monk Zhishan's palm energy kept changing in her body. One wave after another, it caused multiple injuries. She collapsed in an instant, and her internal organs were severely damaged. She could no longer move. Senior Sister Lu, Li Ruolin yelled angrily. You're so cruel. Monk Zhishan did not say a word. He stepped in front of Chu Li and pressed his right palm down. Chu Li scoffed. You just have to deal with women. I've done a great deed by helping people to free themselves from this whirling world. Monk Zhishan said calmly. The 2 palms collided again. Chu Li activated the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture and turned rejection into acceptance. His body turned into a channel that completely accepted Monk Zhishan's palm energy without any obstruction. His inner energy leaked out from his feet and shattered the bluestone floor into pieces. Monk Zhishan frowned. He felt that something was wrong. Chu Li was in a desperate situation. He felt more sensitive than ever. His mind worked faster, and his understanding of the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture improved by leaps and bounds. In just a short while, he had a deep understanding of the path of transformation and understood the wonders of the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture. His body was like a wheel, unhindered and unobstructed. Almsgiver Zhao is indeed a genius. Monk Zhishan said, all the more reason why I can't let you live. Chu Li scoffed. That might not be the case. A silver chakram emerged from Monk Zhishan's left sleeve. A ball of white light gathered on the silver chakram and shot at Chu Li's chest. Bang! Chu Li spat out blood in the air, as if he had been hit by a galloping horse. This white light was very strange. It was pure and solidified. Chu Li's body was able to withstand it without any inner energy being transformed. He was severely injured. If it was not for his strong body, he would have lost his ability to fight. What's this? Chu Li hit the wall and asked with difficulty. A solar chakram. Monk Zhishan shook his head. It's specially used to restrain the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture. Chu Li scoffed. The Reincarnation Temple is indeed cruel. The disciples of the Reincarnation Temple not only possessed the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture, but they also had weapons that could restrain it. They had unique thoughts and great wisdom. Instead of letting others study martial arts that can restrain us, why not do it ourselves? Monk Zhishan said, the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture revolves endlessly, and yin and yang are born together. You should understand this. Then why do you have to kill women? Chu Li scoffed. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and glanced at Li Ruolin. Li Ruolin was supporting Lu Zhan and feeding her a spirit pill. Lu Zhan was on the verge of death. 9 out of 10 of Lu Zhan's lives had been taken by Zhishan's attack. It was extremely dangerous. Lu Zhan would really die if Zhishan attacked her again. Monk Zhishan looked at Lu Zhan and shook his head. Why waste the spirit pill? You'll all die today. Chu Li asked. Monk Zhishan, why do you have to kill women? Are you still a monk after committing such heinous crimes? Namo Amitabha. Monk Zhishan pressed his palms together and chanted the name of Buddha. He sighed. Who else will go to hell if I don't? I can help them free themselves by cultivating the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture. The secular world is full of suffering. Why don't they go to the Western Paradise? With my protection, they'll definitely reach the Western Paradise. There's no need to worry. Chu Li sneered. What if they can't do it? Wouldn't they be guilty of countless crimes? Namo Amitabha. Monk Zhishan shook his head. Almsgiver Zhao, you don't have to say anymore. My heart won't waver. Almsgiver Zhao won't be able to escape today. Chu Li asked. Do you really think that I won't be able to escape? Monk Zhishan shook his head. I won't let Almsgiver Zhao escape. A ray of white light shot toward Lu Zhan from his left sleeve. Li Ruolin quickly turned around and stood in front of Lu Zhan. She punched out with her petite fist. Bang! Li Ruolin was sent flying and crashed into the wall. Coincidentally, she landed on the spot where Lu Zhan had left her earlier. She spat out a mouthful of blood, and her face turned pale. Monk Zhishan raised his solar chakram again, and a ray of white light shot toward Li Ruolin. Chapter 37-31. P.S. Update complete. His face darkened as he struggled to land on the ground. He took out a jade porcelain bottle and poured all the energy pills into his mouth. Then, he shot his blade energy at Monk Zhishan. Monk Zhishan used the solar chakram to block his heart, throat, and other parts of his body. Ding, 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 ding. The clear chimes were heard, and it calmed one's mind and removed all worldly thoughts. Chu Li's blade energy swept across the area while Monk Zhishan remained still. He held a solar chakram in each of his hands and blocked the blade energy. They were only 5 steps away from each other. Chu Li was in despair. He wondered if he should restore his cultivation level and turn into Chu Li to deal with Monk Zhishan. At that moment, Mo Qianjun arrived and threw a divine light fist at Monk Zhishan. Monk Zhishan dodged it. He was focused on Chu Li's flying blade and could not afford to be distracted. He could only dodge the punch. Chu Li called out, Alter Leader Mo, lend me a hand. Mo Qianjun asked, What should I do? Lend me your inner energy, Chu Li said as he swung his blade. Mo Qianjun glided toward him and carefully guarded against Monk Zhishan. Monk Zhishan was focused on the flying blade and did not care about him. Pass your inner energy to me. Chu Li descended from the wall and turned his back to Mo Qianjun. He was not guarded at all, as if they were not enemies. Mo Qianjun pressed his palms on Chu Li's back without hesitation. Suddenly, an enormous force gushed out from Chu Li's back and devoured most of his inner energy. He was shocked. Chu Li became spirited and sneered. Monk Zhishan, I like to see how many blades you can block. Monk Zhishan said, I'd like to see how many blades Almsgiver Zhao can release. All right, Chu Li said as his blade energy condensed and sped up. Monk Zhishan was so focused that he ignored Li Ruolin and helped Lu Zhan up. The 2 women consumed spirit pills and sat on the bed to meditate. They knew that they could not help and could only wait and see. Mo Qianjun felt his inner energy quickly disappearing from Chu Li's body. Chu Li's body was like a bottomless pit. His inner energy could not be replenished, and he could not hold on for long. He gritted his teeth and forcefully pulled his right hand out. It was extremely strenuous. It was as if there was an endless force on Chu Li's back that prevented his hand from leaving. Mo Qianjun took out a porcelain bottle from his bosom and popped the stopper with his thumb. He poured the spirit pills inside the bottle into his mouth in one go to replenish the inner force he had consumed. Without the help of the spirit pills, he would not be able to hold on for long. Monk Zhishan slowly retreated. The power of Chu Li's blade energy was getting stronger and stronger, and his speed was getting faster as well. It was faster than Monk Zhishan could react to it. Moreover, the power contained in the blade was too great, so he could not get too close to it. Junior Sisterly, give me another bottle of foundation pill. Mo Qianjun shouted. Li Ruolin took out a bottle of energy cultivation pills from her inner pocket and walked towards Chu Li with a faint fragrance. She poured a handful in her palm and stuffed it into Chu Li's mouth. Monk Zhishan suddenly levitated and dodged the flying blade. Then, a ray of white light shot out from the solar chakram and landed on Chu Li. Bam! Chu Li did not dodge the attack. Instead, a cold glint flashed in his hand, and a flying blade shot into Monk Zhishan's chest. Monk Zhishan lowered his head and looked curiously at the flying blade that had sunk deep into Chu Li's chest. It was small and exquisite like a work of art. Monk Zhishan could not help but hold it in his hand to admire it. Chuli was hit by the white light. He spat out a mouthful of blood and took a step back. Mo Qianjuan's body trembled as he felt a turbulent force pouring into his palms. It was so condensed that it was almost tangible and felt like a blade that was about to cut him into pieces. The force from the solar chakram was as solid as a rock. Chuli forcefully converted a portion of it and transferred it to Mo Qianjun. When Mo Qianjun saw Chuli spitting out blood, he did not suspect that Chuli was up to no good. When he saw the blade in Jishan's chest, he could not help but feel refreshed. This was the first time monk Jishan had been seriously injured. Previously, Lu Zhen had risked her injury to stab him with her sword. However, she had failed to pierce through his chest. There was a strange force in his body that diverted the force. Lu Zhen's sword was supposed to be in the bag, but it had deviated at the crucial moment. Lu Zhen had only managed to pierce through his skin, but Lu Zhen had lost an arm. It was hateful just thinking about it. Mo Qianjun felt a strong suction force coming again and devoured all the inner energy in his body. Chuli spat out a mouthful of blood. Along with the blood came a flying blade at an incredible speed. TSS. Monk Jishan was about to block his chest with his solar chakram when the flying blade arrived. Namo Amitba. Monk Jishan chanted and took a step forward. Then, he took another step forward and disappeared before everyone's eyes. Chuli spat out another mouthful of blood. Mo Qianjun spat out another mouthful of blood as his face quickly turned pale. Mo Qianjun suddenly attacked when Monk Jishan left. He wanted to break Chu Li's heart meridian. However, his inner energy was almost gone. Chu Li immediately converted a strand of his inner energy into his own energy and turned it to attack Mo Qianjuan's heart meridian. Mo Qianjuan's body was empty and defenseless. His heart meridian was instantly in intense pain and his vision turned black. He secretly gritted his teeth. Junior brother Zhao. Li Ruolin hurried over to support him. Chu Li let out a long sigh of relief and sat on the ground weakly. He turned his head and glared at Mo Qianjun. Alter leader Mo, you're good. Mo Qianjun wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and shook his head. Same to you. Both of them had secretly attacked each other, but unfortunately, both of them were injured in the end. It's all thanks to senior brother Mo. Li Ruolin said, if it wasn't for senior brother Mo, we would have all died in Jishan's hands. Chu Li scoffed. That's right. While the two were talking, Bai Feng and the others appeared. Lu Zhenxiu's face was as pale as a sheet. Her breathing quickened as she glared at them. Alter leader Mo panted. Junior sister Lu, you can't blame everyone. The more people there are, the more troublesome it will be for Monk Jishan. It's good that everyone didn't attack. Yes. Everyone quickly said. Zhu Wenhan glared at Chu Li. Chu Li glanced at him. I didn't kill Jing Guanyin. Although you didn't kill him, you didn't save him either. Zhu Wenhan said coldly. Chu Li asked, should I have saved him? Elder Zhu, don't be unreasonable. Bai Feng said. Young master, Zhao could only save one person at that time. Isn't it obvious whether he would save me or Jing Guanyin? You're so narrow-minded. Zhu Wenhan said coldly. You're far worse than Alter Leader Mo. Chu Li smirked. I'm not as selfless as Alter Leader Mo. Everyone's lives were saved by Alter Leader Mo. Without Alter Leader Mo's help, we would have all died in the hands of Monk Jishan. You're flattering me. Mo Qianjun waved his hand and smiled. I'm just helping. You're the one who deserves the credit, Zhao Ade. We've lived our lives in vain. In the end, we still have to rely on you. Enough. Bai Feng scoffed. Now think about it. How are we going to deal with Monk Jishan the next time he comes? With Zhao De, we're confident that we can retreat safely. Mo Qianjun laughed. If he dares to come, he'll have to suffer the light blade. Li Ruolin quickly said, Senior brother Mo, Zhao De has to go back. He can't stay here forever. She felt that it was inappropriate for Mo Qianjun to make Zhao De stay. Alter Leader Mo's intention was not as simple as it seemed. He did not just want to deal with Monk Jishan. He probably had other motives. No matter how selfless a person was, he would still avenge his niece. Once Zhao Daya leaves, we'll really have to leave this place. Mo Qianjun sighed. We can't leave. Zhu Wenhan scoffed. Chapter 37-32. Chuli coughed. Actually, Monk Zhishan isn't that scary. His cultivation level is only slightly higher than altar leader Mo's. Mo Qianjun replied. He's indeed one level higher than me. Bai Feng frowned and sighed. But his heart technique is terrifying. The Earth Matrix and reincarnation scripture can fight 10 people at once. She knew how terrifying the lunar chakram was. Her junior sister had died to it back then. Without Zhao Daya's help, she might not have survived either. Monk Zhishan seemed to be targeting women. The Earth Matrix and reincarnation scripture could restrain her martial arts. Her weapons could not even withstand a single blow from the lunar chakram, and her other martial arts could not do anything to him. Although the Tian Luo sect had been declining for the past few years, she had always been strong because her cultivation level was high enough. However, she was as weak as a child in front of Monk Zhishan. Chu Li said, the key is to find a way to restrain the Earth Matrix and reincarnation scripture. There's no such thing as an invincible martial art. The reincarnation temple isn't invincible. Young Master Zhao, do you have any ideas? Bai Feng asked. Chu Li shook his head. No. Everyone sighed in disappointment. His earlier performance had won everyone's respect. It was terrifying to have such a powerful force with such a weak cultivation level. If he recovered his martial arts, he might even be able to fight Monk Zhishan. He did not need anything else. The light blade alone was enough to suppress Monk Zhishan, causing him to return empty-handed. What happened? Zhou Jinshun and Ji Xan stepped into the courtyard and were puzzled when they saw the tragic scene. They could tell that a huge battle had taken place. Junior Sister Lu. Zhou Jinshun quickly called out. Ji Xan looked at Li Ruolin and quickly went forward. Junior Sister Li, are you okay? Li Ruolin shook her head and smiled. It's just a small injury. Monk Zhishan came just now, and everyone fought. Ji Xan asked, did you defeat him? You could say so. Li Ruolin nodded. Ji Xan smiled. That's good. Zhou Jinshun was anxious when he saw Lu Zhan's pale face and weak breathing. He quickly asked, Junior Sister Li, how is Junior Sister Lu? She's already taken the pill. Li Ruolin's expression darkened. Even if Senior Sister Lu could pull through this serious injury, it would take her a long time to recover. Fate was merciless. Senior Sister Lu was like a flower, but she had lost an arm and suffered such a serious injury. Zhou Jinshun gritted his teeth. Monk Zhishan, I swear to kill you. Zhu Wenhan sneered and cast a sidelong glance at him. Zhou Jinshun turned around and glared at him. Zhu Wenhan scoffed. You want to kill bald donkey Zhishan? What a joke. Zhou Jinshun said coldly. Who are you? Mo Qianjun said. That's enough. Brother Zhu, don't vent your anger on others. Life and death are decided in the blink of an eye in the martial arts world. If you run into someone like Zhishan, you might lose your life at any moment. The next moment, it might be you. Zhao Daya won't die. Zhu Wenhan sneered. Chu Li frowned as he looked at him. His triangular eyes flashed coldly. Zhu Wenhan felt a chill run down his spine. He snorted and turned his head to avoid eye contact. After witnessing Chu Li's light blade, he knew that he would not be able to dodge even a single blade. If he really offended Chu Li, he would lose his life if Chu Li attacked him secretly. A wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. All right, everyone, let's disperse and tend to our wounds. Both Zhao Daya and I are quite badly injured. Mo Qianjun gave a fist salute. Monk Zhishan has been stabbed twice. He won't be back for the time being. Everyone can sleep in peace. All right. Everyone gave a fist salute and left the town defense prefecture. Bai Feng gave him a look. Goodbye, young Master Zhao. Yes. Chuli gave a fist salute. After everyone left, Mo Qianjun said, find a house in the backyard and stay there. Someone will clean it up. He glanced at Chu Li and nodded with a smile before leaving the courtyard. Chu Li looked at him coldly. Zhou Jinshun and Ji Xan shook their heads and sighed. Altar leader Mo was so generous, but junior brother Zhao was so cold. He was too narrow-minded. Chu Li glanced at them and scoffed. "You're a smiling tiger. It can't be," Zhou Jinshan said. "Altar leader Mo is generous and open-minded. Junior brother Zhao, you might have misunderstood." Chu Li sneered and shook his head. Li Rulin frowned. "Junior brother Zhao, did you guys fight in secret? Forget it. I'll go tend to my wounds." Chu Li waved his hand and strode away. This junior brother Zhao, Xn, shook his head and sighed. He needs to change his temper or he'll suffer in the future. He turned around and asked, "Junior sister Li, didn't everyone kill Monk Shan?" Li Rulin shook her head and said softly, "It's already a miracle that we managed to force him to run away." "He's that powerful?" Xin was surprised. Li Rulin lowered her voice and said, "Senior brother Ji, you should go back with senior brother Zhou." "What about you, junior sister Li?" Xin asked. Li Rulin replied, "I have to stay behind to take care of senior sister Lu." "I'll stay too," Xin said. Li Rulin frowned. "Monk Shan might come at any time. It's too dangerous." "It'll be more dangerous if you stay." Xin shook his head. "How can I escape alone? Moreover, one more person means more strength. We won't be a burden, right?" Li Rulin sighed. "There's nothing you can do even if you stay. Monk Shan's Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture can borrow other people's strength. It won't make a difference if there's 2, 3, or 4 people. Therefore, it's best that you leave first so that you won't suffer too many losses." The White Tiger's sect lost another master just now. He's so powerful. Do you want a priest to come? Zhou Jinshan looked away from Lu Zhan and turned around to look at them. Are we just going to let him do whatever he wants? Fortunately, junior brother Zhao is here. He can stop him, Li Rulin said. Junior brother Zhao will stay too? Xin asked. Li Rulin nodded. Altar leader Mo won't let him go. All the more reason for me to stay. Senior brother Zhou, you should leave first. Report to the saint and ask a priest to come and deal with Monk Shan. Xin said. He could vaguely sense Chu Li's threat and had to be careful. All right, Li Rulin nodded. Logically, such a dangerous situation should have reached the saint's ears, and she would have sent a priest over. However, the saint only sent the 3 of them over. It was obvious that she did not receive Altar Leader Mo's request for help. It was impossible for the message to be intercepted halfway. The Holy Church's information was delivered by the Golden Eagle and was out of reach. The only possibility was that Altar Leader Mo did not ask for help. She guessed that Altar Leader Mo was greedy and wanted to eliminate Monk Shan on his own so that he could become a priest as soon as possible. Once he asked for help, all his previous hard work would be erased, and it would not be easy for him to become a priest. Li Rulin understood this, as she would do the same thing most of the time. However, she was displeased that her good friend Lu Zhan's life was involved. If Altar Leader Mo did not ask for help, she would ask for help herself. She could not let him do whatever he wanted and kill more people. However, Altar Leader Mo did not ask for help because he was greedy. Lu Zhan was severely injured and crippled, so the other 3 sects had nothing to say. Therefore, he was using Monk Shan to weaken the 3 sects' strength. The 3 sects seemed to be declining, but they did not give up. They conspired to severely injure the Holy Church of Light so that they would not be able to dominate the Holy Church of Light. The Radiance Clan's massacre was jointly carried out by the 3 sects, and everyone in the Holy Church of Light remembered it. As she thought about this, she sighed. Just go back and report the truth. There's no need to ask for help. It's up to the saint to decide whether to send a priest over. All right, Zhou Jinshan said. I'll bring junior sister Lu away. Senior sister Lu can't leave. Li Rulin sighed. Zhou Jinshan frowned at her. Li Rulin said, First of all, senior sister Lu is severely injured and can't handle this. Secondly, I'm afraid Monk Shan won't let this go easily. Chapter 37-33. When Tingdao, Xin said, How dare you? I've seen the common knot grass before. It's on a mountain. When Tingdao was dressed in a green robe. He had fair skin and was waving a folding fan in his hand. Where? Zhou Jinshun hurriedly asked. When Ting Dao closed his folding fan and pointed at Ji Xian. I'll tell you as long as you injure him. Zhou Jinshun turned to look at Ji Xian. Ji Xian replied, He's Wen Ting Dao, a disciple of the Fu dynasty's Sword Moon sect. I never lie. I've seen the common knot grass before, but as long as I don't hurt him, I won't say another word. Wen Ting Dao chuckled. The common knot grass. There are more than 10 of them in that area. Nobody would have noticed it. If you say it's common knot grass, then it's common knot grass. Don't try to fool me. Zhou Jinshun snorted and turned his head away. Wen Ting Dao waved his hand, and a broken branch from the flower bed flew into his hand. He used the branch as a brush and drew a few strokes on the ground. The strokes were as clear as if they had been carved by a knife and branded on the ground. Look, is this it? When Ting Dao smiled at Chu Li. Young Master Zhao, we meet again. Chu Li scoffed. The one with the surname Wen. You're asking for trouble again. When Ting Dao took a few steps back. Young Master Zhao, please come take a look. Chu Li took a step forward and approached him. Wen Ting Dao quickly held onto the hilt of his sword as his body tensed up. Chu Li smiled. Look at how scared you are. He turned his back on Wen Ting Dao and glanced at the painting on the ground. It's common knot grass. Wen Ting Dao's fair and handsome face flushed red as he flew into a rage out of humiliation. He had the urge to pull out his sword and stab it into Chu Li's back, right through his heart, and end this ugly man's life. However, his rationality held his hand down and prevented him from being impulsive. Chu Li took a step back into the gazebo. Zhou Jinshun hurriedly said, How is it, junior brother Zhao? Looks like you really did see it. Good. Zhou Jinshun's spirit was lifted. Then let's take him down and force him to hand it over. Good idea. Chu Li nodded. Ji Xian said, Be careful of this fella's sword technique and body technique. They're very difficult to deal with. The three of us can't take him down. Zhou Jinshun didn't care and grinned. It's great that this guy came to us. Junior sister Lu should be so lucky. Take him down. Ji Xian sighed. Wen Ting Dao was cunning and would not do anything that would get him killed. Wen Ting Dao suddenly said, Since you don't want to know where the common knot grass is, I'll take my leave. Where are you going? Zhou Jinshun yelled and struck out with his divine light fist. However, he only hit the shadow, as Wen Ting Dao had already disappeared. Ji Xian shook his head and said, Forget it, brother Zhou. The Sword Moon sect's body technique is strange and unpredictable. We won't be able to catch up to them. No, we must catch up to him. Zhou Jinshun shouted. He chased after her with large strides. Ji Xian said helplessly, Junior brother Zhao, you should recuperate first. I'll go and take a look. Chu Li nodded without hesitation. The two of them were patrols, so they had enough power to protect themselves. There was no need for him to protect them everywhere. In the Holy Church of Light, he only cared about Li Rulin. Chu Li watched as they disappeared before he continued to cultivate the 36 energy-nurturing forms. The 36 energy-nurturing forms contained very weak blade energy each time. It would take a long time to fill up one's dantian. Moreover, one's dantian needed to be tempered bit by bit to be able to withstand the long-term accumulation of blade energy. 2 hours later, Ji Xian and Zhou Jinshun appeared shakily. Both of them were covered in blood, as if they were wearing bloody clothes. Their clothes were torn by the sword. Bang! The two of them tripped over the steps of the gazebo and fell into it. Chu Li looked at them in shock. Ji Xian and Zhou Jinshun's faces were pale, and their lips were purple. This was a sign of excessive blood loss. They smiled bitterly with their blood-stained faces. Chu Li went forward and helped them to sit on the stone bench. What happened? He could tell that the two of them were still alive. Their lives were not in danger, but their bodies were badly cut, and they needed to recuperate. Damn it, this kid is too cunning. He led us into an ambush. Zhou Jinshun cursed. His entire body was trembling. He was weak from overexerting himself. Ji Xian sighed. There were 2 Sword Moon sect masters lying in ambush outside the town. We used a secret skill to escape. Chu Li frowned. There were 2 more Sword Moon sect masters. They're not inferior to one Tingdao, Gxin said. We were lucky to be able to escape. Chu Li said, this one fella is cunning. He could have killed us with just 3 masters. Why'd he have to go through so much trouble? That's when Tingdao, Gxin, said angrily. Zhou Jinshun gritted his teeth. Damn it, damn it. Chu Li said, Senior Brother Zhou, don't worry. As long as the common knotgrass exists, we'll be able to find it. I'm afraid it's in the Fu Dynasty. Gxin said, the Fu Dynasty isn't a place we can barge into. It's very dangerous. I know that. I'll look for it, even if it's in the 100,000 hills. Zhou Jinshun gritted his teeth. I must help junior sister Lu regrow her arm. Gxin said, Junior Brother Zhao, help us. Chu Li looked troubled. Monk Shan is enough for me. I can't even protect myself. Zhou Jinshun gritted his teeth. Junior Brother Zhao, if you're able to get the common knotgrass, I'll listen to you in the future. I'll do anything you ask of me. Senior Brother Zhou, help him out for the sake of his love for her. Gxin said. Chu Li sighed. All right, I'll help him if there's a chance. However, I really can't afford to be distracted now. The single slice of the universe that I've been cultivating can only be used for a dozen times. I'll need to cultivate for half a day to make up for it. What if Monk Shan comes? Zhou Jinshun quickly said. I'll lure when Tingdao here. Chu Li said, that's not a problem. He stood up and walked out. Senior Brother Zhou, do you want to die? Gxin quickly said, how many moves can you take now? I'm still breathing. It's enough to lure him here. Zhou Jinshun scoffed. Chu Li said, how about this? Let's go outside the town. It'll be easier to lure him here. All right. Zhou Jinshun quickly nodded. Gxin had a bitter look on his face. He really did not want to go crazy with Zhou Jinshun. His body was empty now, and he was only relying on the spirit pills to support him. It would take around a year for him to fully recover. This year was a crucial time for the war between the Qiu dynasty and the Li dynasty. However, he could only watch from the sidelines and do nothing. He could not accumulate any merits. Junior sister Li might be promoted to an altar leader after making enough contributions. Once junior sister Li became an altar leader, he would no longer be qualified to be with her. Zhou Jinshun took a few steps forward and suddenly stopped. He turned around and said to Gxin, who was in the gazebo, Junior Brother G, don't go. Rest well. Forget it. Let's go together. Gxin sighed helplessly. Zhou Jinshun nodded and said no more. Gxin followed him out weakly. He took out an energy pill and stuffed it into his mouth. He mustered his remaining courage. If they were to fight for their lives this time, he would be willing to risk his life to accompany them. However, after making this decision, he sighed helplessly but also felt slightly excited. It was as if he had become great and thought highly of himself. Chapter 37-34. He slowly channeled the 36 energy-nurturing forms and formed strands of blade energy that slowly flowed into his dantian. The strands of blade energy were as sharp as a knife, as if the small blades in his dantian were gradually condensed into a huge blade. He could clearly feel the pressure on his dantian and the faint pain. The more he cultivated the 36 energy-nurturing forms, the more painful it would be. He estimated that the blade energy could be used up to 5 times. After that, there would be no more blade energy, and it would take half a day to cultivate again. Therefore, the pros and cons of the single slice of the universe were obvious. Time continued to pass, but the two were still nowhere to be seen. Chu Li was not bothered. He realized that he had underestimated the patrols. They were still very powerful, especially when it came to escaping. They had hidden trump cards and could always escape during critical moments. His impression of the disciples of the Holy Church of Light was still the Ji dynasty. Back then, the disciples he met in Fairy's capital would easily use the secret technique of great light to destroy themselves and ascend to the paradise of bliss. After entering the Holy Church of Light, he realized that he did not know them all. Most of the disciples were not that extreme. The disciples he met in Fairy's capital were all sacrificial warriors. They were prepared to die when they went to search for the scripture of great light. If they were found, they would be martyred to prevent others from asking for confession and revealing their intentions, which would ruin the Holy Church's plan that had been going on for hundreds of years. Now, it seemed like their deaths were worth it. The second half of the scripture of great light had finally been found. The secret technique of great light was amazing. Even if they were not prepared to die, it could still unleash a great power that would allow them to escape. After Chu Li had practiced the 36 energy-nurturing forms 3 times, he heard footsteps approaching. Zhou Jinshun and Ji Xian were supporting each other as they staggered into the forest. Then they sat on the ground and rolled around as they grimaced in pain. Chu Li looked behind them. Where are they? Damn it, that one brat is too cunning. We couldn't lure him here. Zhou Jinshun grimaced and cursed. We lured him halfway, but he suddenly ran back. We finally lured him back, but he ran back again. Ji Xian sighed. He saw through our thoughts and was purposely teasing us. How despicable. Didn't he kill you in one go? Chu Li asked. He doesn't have that ability. Zhou Jinshun scoffed. Ji Xian said. He's also afraid that we'll risk our lives. He won't be afraid if it's just one of us, but he won't dare to act recklessly if there's 2 of us. He's been trying to exhaust us so that we won't have the strength to perform our secret skills before he kills us. Where is he now? Chu Li asked. Who knows? Zhou Jinshun sighed. This sissy is too hateful. Who's a sissy? An angry snort sounded. One Tingdao slowly walked into the forest. One Tingdao, who was dressed in a green robe and had a graceful bearing, was waving a folding fan in his hand. He glared at Zhou Jinshun furiously. Zhou, how dare you call me a sissy? You're a sissy, Zhou Jinshun said disdainfully. A man with a fragrance on his body is really interesting. When Tingdao gave him a sidelong glance. It's used to repel mosquitoes. How ignorant of you. You want to lure me here so that Zhao Dea can deal with me, right? Just say it directly. Why go through all the trouble? Even I am anxious for you. Ji Xian scoffed. You got guts. You knew about our ambush, but you still dare to come. Zhao Dea is now a featherless phoenix. Why wouldn't he dare? When Tingdao gave Chu Li a sidelong glance. I heard that he fought with Monk Zhishan from the Reincarnation Temple. You must be quite capable to be able to escape from him. You know Monk Zhishan too? Chu Li asked. Is he that famous? He's the second person among the young disciples of the Reincarnation Temple to solve the mystery of the womb. When Tingdao scoffed. You're lucky to be able to escape from Zhishan, the mystery of the womb. Chu Li frowned. He solved the mystery of the womb. As a Buddhist disciple, he naturally knew about the mystery of the womb. It was similar to the soup of Meng Pua that people talked about. During reincarnation, everything from the past life would be thrown away, leaving only a little bit of one's nature. This was the Buddha nature. Solving the mystery of the womb was to remember everything from the past life. Chu Li came to a sudden realization. No wonder Monk Zhishan's spiritual energy was so strong. It was because he solved the mystery of the womb. No wonder he felt that Monk Zhishan was strange, and he could not see through him. It was because he solved the mystery of the womb. What's so strange about solving the mystery of the womb? When Tingdao shook his head. Looks like you're ignorant. You still don't know how powerful the Reincarnation Temple is, do you? The Holy Church of Light may be powerful, but you're still lacking compared to the Reincarnation Temple. Chu Li shook his head. We're not any weaker than the Reincarnation Temple. The Great Light Scripture has been perfected, and we can compete with any sect in the world. Go on and brag all you want. When Tingdao sneered. The monks of the Reincarnation Temple aren't people you can handle. You'll need those old fellas from the Holy Church of Light to come out. Even the Sword Moon sect can't handle the Reincarnation Temple. It's a piece of cake to deal with them. You're bragging, aren't you? Chu Li shook his head. The solar chakram is still manageable. How do you solve the lunar chakram? You want to know? When Tingdao suddenly laughed. Kill the 2 of them, and I'll tell you how to solve the lunar chakram. Zhou Jinshun scoffed. 1. Hand over the common knot grass, and we'll spare your life. Spare my life? Wen Tingdao suddenly laughed. Ha! Ha! Chu Li suddenly swung both of his hands. TSS, TSS. Two soft whistles were heard coming from the depths of the forest. Wen Tingdao's expression changed, but Chu Li swung his hands again. Wen Tingdao's body swayed and was about to disappear when his blurry figure suddenly became clear again. There was a stab wound on his thigh, revealing his white bone. Chu Li had unknowingly gotten closer to him and was only 5 steps away. Wen Tingdao's body would not be able to dodge the attack, no matter how fast he was. Chu Li took a step forward and swung his sword again. Wen Tingdao let out a groan as another white hole appeared on his other leg. He managed to stand still, but he no longer had the strength to use his light body technique. Xin was overjoyed and was about to draw his sword to kill him. However, Chu Li swung his sword before he could. The sword gleamed, and when Tingdao's left index and middle fingers fell to the ground with a thud, Chu Li sheathed his sword. Leave the common knot grass here in 3 days. 10 days later, I'll place a detachment pill here. Take the detachment pill, and your fingers will grow back. When Tingdao quickly tapped his fingers a few times and applied some medicine on his wound to stop the bleeding. He frowned at Chu Li. He did not expect the situation to turn around so suddenly. Xin and Zhou Jinshun were no different from crippled people and were no longer a threat. His 2 senior brothers had already snuck in and were hiding in the dark, ready to attack at any time. If he and his 2 senior brothers attacked together, it would not be a problem to take down Zhao Dai. If they wanted to ambush him, he would counter-ambush them and see who would come out on top. However, he did not expect this to happen. His 2 senior brothers had been stabbed as well. His hand was crippled and his leg was injured, so he could not escape. Chu Li said, I'm a man of my word. I want the common knot grass to refine the detachment pill for a senior sister. She lost her arm. Chapter 37-35. Let's go. Chu Li turned to look at Xin and Zhou Jinshun. Can we still walk? Junior brother Zhao, give us a hand. Zhou Jinshun said while gritting his teeth. Chu Li reached out his hands to support the 2 of them. Xin was forcefully supported by Chu Li as he turned to look at Wen Ting indignantly. Chu Li asked, do you want to kill Wen Tingdao or the common knot grass? Sigh. Xin shook his head and said, what a pity. It was such a great opportunity. Chu Li said, there will be a chance. Xin quickly suggested, why don't we set up an ambush here and kill him when he comes to hand over the common knot grass? Chu Li looked at him strangely. Xin asked, isn't this a good idea? In any case, he has already brought the common knot grass. Why should he keep his word with the enemy? Sigh. Chu Li shook his head and remained silent. Zhou Jinshun said snappily, Junior brother Ji, you're also a smart person. How could you have such a stupid idea? How are you stupid? Do you think Wen Tingdao wouldn't be on guard against him? That's true. Xin smiled sheepishly. He had been too eager for quick success and had made a fool of himself in front of the other 2. He quickly said, this fellow is too cunning. If we let him go this time, we won't get another chance. As long as he wants to kill you, senior brother Ji, he'll have the chance, Chu Li said. Xin felt a little strange when he heard this. Zhou Jinshun smiled and said, with the bait, there's no need to worry about the fish not taking the bait. Xin shook his head. When the 3 of them returned to the mayor's mansion, Li Ruolin was already waiting for them in the backyard. When he saw that Xin and Zhou Jinshun had returned in a bloodied state, his expression changed drastically. He quickly went forward and asked, what happened? I went to look for spirit pills for senior sister Lu, Chu Li replied. Xin waved his hand and said, I'm fine, they're all superficial wounds. I'll recover in a few days. Junior apprentice sister Lu has some good news. Junior apprentice brother Zhao can refine a type of spirit pill that can regrow limbs. It's called the connection pill. He's missing a spirit herb. Let's go look for it. There's such a spirit pill. Li Ruolin was surprised. I can refine it, Chu Li replied. As long as I have the common knot grass. There will be common knot grass soon. Xin smiled. We put in a lot of effort this time. We got it from Wen Tingdao of the Sword Moon sect. Li Ruolin said. Senior brother Ji, why did you provoke him? The Sword Moon sect isn't a pushover. Chu Li said. Senior sister Li, your injuries haven't healed yet. Why aren't you healing yourself? I'm fine. Li Ruolin shook her head. Ji Xindao said with concern. Your injuries are more important. Let's go and recuperate. We can't leave even if we want to. We'll need to recuperate for a while, he said with a wry smile. Not being able to fight for a year and a half was not a good feeling. 3 days later, in the morning, Chu Li was leisurely practicing the 36 energy-nurturing forms in the backyard. Li Ruolin rushed to the backyard with a box and entered the gazebo. I've retrieved the common knotgrass. Do you think it's the one? Chu Li approached the stone table and used his sword to pry open the box. Inside the box were 10 stalks of bamboo-like grass that were as thick as a thumb. They were the common knotgrass and looked like segments of a finger. It was a very strange sight. Is this it? Li Ruolin asked. This is it. Chu Li nodded in satisfaction. Have the rest of the spirit herbs been sent here? They've been sent from the Great Light Peak. Li Ruolin nodded. Are you really confident? I don't think anyone from the Herbalist Hall has cultivated this before. That's because it's difficult to cultivate. Chu Li said. They can't, but I can. Li Ruolin said. If you fail and disappoint Senior Sister Lu, she'll teach you a lesson. Chu Li said. You didn't tell Senior Sister Lu, did you? Do you think Senior Brother Zhou can bear it? Li Ruolin scoffed. Chu Li shook his head. Zhou Jinshun definitely did not want to see Lu Jin depressed, so he could not wait to present his treasure. Li Ruolin said, if you can really cultivate it, Senior Sister Lu will be very grateful. It doesn't matter if I'm grateful or not, Chu Li said. I'm only helping out because Senior Sister Lu is pitiful. Senior Sister Lu has a good impression of you. Li Ruolin pursed her lips and smiled. Chu Li glanced at her. Is that funny? I just find it interesting. Li Ruolin pursed her lips and smiled. She was not wearing a white veil, so the smile on her charming and delicate face made her look exceptionally charming. Chu Li scoffed. Just because Senior Brother Ji has someone who likes him, why can't someone like me? All right, let's not talk about it anymore. Li Ruolin stopped smiling. When are you going to refine the pill? I'll start right away, Chu Li said. Have you found the alchemy furnace? I found the best alchemy furnace. Li Ruolin nodded. The mayor's order is quite effective. It's been set up in the courtyard in front. Let's go take a look. Chu Li picked up the box and walked out. Li Ruolin brought him to a small courtyard in front. In the middle of the courtyard, there was a black alchemy furnace that was half the height of a person. It was simple and unadorned like a bronze tripod, and it was obvious that it had experienced a long time. This was obtained from a Taoist temple, Li Ruolin said. It's a Taoist temple that has been ruined for a long time, but this alchemy furnace is very sturdy and can still be used. Chu Li patted the black alchemy furnace, and it let out a clear clang sound. He was satisfied. Not bad. Bring me the rest of the spirit herbs and a bucket of water. I'll start refining the pill now. All right. Li Ruolin left the courtyard. They heard hurried footsteps as Zhou Jinshun and Xin rushed over. After a while, Li Ruolin brought Lu Jin over. Lu Jin was dressed in a white robe with her left sleeve fluttering. Her face was still pale, but her delicate face was lovely and pitiful. Junior Brother Zhao, can you really help me regrow my arm? As long as I can refine the detachment pill. All right, Lu Jin pursed her lips. If you can help me regrow my left arm, I'll marry you. Chu Li was stunned. Junior Sister Lu, Zhou Jinshun cried out. Lu Jin ignored him and stared at Chu Li. I won't break my promise. Li Ruolin tugged at her. Senior Sister Lu, Xin widened his eyes in disbelief. Although he did not like Junior Sister Lu, many disciples in the Church of Light liked her. There were so many handsome men out there, but she insisted on marrying the ugly Zhao Dai. Junior Sister Lu must be crazy. Chu Li looked at Lu Jin. Lu Jin said, Zhao Dai, do you have the guts to marry me? Li Ruolin was annoyed. Senior Sister Lu, think about it. This isn't a child's play. I've thought about it very clearly. Lu Jin said, Junior Brother Zhao is a good man. It's not a bad idea to marry him. Junior Brother Zhao, I'm a man. Even I have the guts to marry him. Are you afraid to marry him? You're not suitable, Li Rulin said. Chu Li remained silent. Li Rulin glared at him. Don't be crazy like senior sister Lu. Chu Li did not look at her. Instead, he stared at Lu Jun. Senior sister Lu, we're not suitable. Let's start refining the pill. He opened the box and picked out 4 stalks of common knot grass before tossing them into the alchemy furnace. Lu Jun stared at him without blinking her bright eyes. Zhou Jinshun sighed in relief. Chu Li tossed the rest of the spirit herbs into the alchemy furnace. Then, he scooped some water and started a fire. The courtyard was instantly filled with smoke. Everyone held their breaths. Chu Li sat on the cattail hassock in front of the alchemy furnace. Everyone get back to work. It'll take a day and a night to finish refining. Chapter 37-36. Li Rulin dragged Lu Jun to her courtyard, entered the house, and pressed her down on the bed. She said angrily, Senior Sister Lu, what's wrong with you? Why did you do this? I'm not crazy. I'm very calm, Lu Jun said. Calm, Li Rulin scoffed. Lu Jun said, don't you think Zhao Dai is majestic? Think about how he shot Monk Zhishan with his blade. He's so heroic. Just thinking about it makes people admire him. He's really a hero. Li Rulin shook her head. What heroic? He was badly beaten up by Monk Zhishan. He's able to remain calm in a desperate situation and find a chance to turn the tables. Ordinary men don't have such courage. Lu Jun said, he's a real hero. Li Rulin sighed and looked at her helplessly. Don't you think he's ugly? Ugly. Lu Jun frowned. Is appearance really that important? The only attractive thing about a man is that he doesn't have an appearance. Those who rely on their appearance are all pretty boys and useless. Sigh. Li Rulin shook her head. Looks like you're not crazy. You've really fallen for him. Lu Jun exclaimed. A hero like him deserves a beauty. Li Rulin shook her head. He has a bad temper and is arrogant. Senior Sister Lu, you're so strong-willed that you can't stand him. You'll quarrel with him all the time. Forget it. It's fine if he doesn't agree. Lu Jun nodded. It's not like I can't get married. If he doesn't like me, I won't pester him shamelessly. It's such a pity. Li Rulin sighed. You've made it so awkward for everyone. What's there to be awkward about? Lu Jun said. You've all underestimated him just because he's ugly. You're as blind as a bat. We didn't underestimate him. We know he's good, Li Rulin said. Lu Jun shook her head and said nothing else. Li Rulin sighed. Although he's arrogant, he doesn't brag. He should be able to refine the detachment pill. Lu Jun smiled. I'm so lucky. Li Rulin nodded. Chu Li sat motionlessly on the cattail hassock, thinking about what had just happened. He had never imagined that Lu Jun would make such a bold move. She actually said that she wanted to marry him on the spot. Whether it was sincere or not, he was quite shocked. Because of Zhao Dai's appearance, Chu Li was treated with disdain in the Holy Church of Light. Even Li Rulin, who was closest to him, did not fall for him because of his appearance. She only treated him as a friend. In the entire Holy Church of Light, Lu Jun was the only one who did not care about his own ugliness. He would be deceiving himself if he said that he was calm and unperturbed. Humans were not plants. Moreover, plants were not emotionless. If he agreed to it, would Lu Jun really marry him? Thinking of this, he could not help but let his imagination run wild. Then, he remembered his goal. He had come to the Holy Church of Light to infiltrate, to obtain information, and to find the Holy Church's weakness. He had come to deal with the Holy Church of Light, so he could not have any emotional ties with the people of the Holy Church of Light. Otherwise, he would be asking for trouble and torturing himself. As if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him, all of his thoughts dissipated. He got up and started practicing the 36 energy nurturing forms. Time passed slowly. With the omniscient mirror, he could clearly see the situation inside the alchemy furnace. Come in, senior brother Zhou, Chu Li said suddenly as he slowly practiced the 36 energy nurturing forms. Zhou Jinshun shuffled into the room, feeling awkward all over. Chu Li did not look at him and continued practicing the 36 energy nurturing forms. Senior brother Zhou, Are you here to question me? No. Zhou Jinshan shook his head. Chu Li did not say anything and continued practicing the 36 energy-nurturing forms. Actually, you shouldn't have rejected junior sister Lu, Zhou Jinshan said. Chu Li did not say anything and continued practicing. Zhou Jinshan seemed to be immersed in his own world and sighed. Actually, there are many people like me who like junior sister Lu. Everyone admires her and likes her. However, junior sister Lu is like a proud spirit crane. She never looks down and only stares at the sky. She doesn't see us. Chu Li did not stop practicing. Zhou Jinshan said, "None of us are worthy of her. We hoped that there would be a man who could move her heart and make her fall in love with him. However, we never expected that person to be you, junior brother Zhao." Chu Li continued practicing. "Because I'm ugly?" "Yes." Zhou Jinshan hesitated for a while and slowly nodded. "But junior sister Lu is so noble and refined. She is different from the eyes of the world. She is not blinded by it and can see things that others cannot." Chu Li smiled and stopped what he was doing. Zhou Jinshan said, "Senior sister Lu is such a proud person. Yet, you rejected her. That's not right." Chu Li sat on the cattail hassock again and added 2 more black stones under the alchemy furnace. "Senior brother Zhou, I'm not worthy of senior sister Lu. That's why I rejected her." "You really are not worthy of junior sister Lu," Zhou Jinshan said. Chu Li stared at him and said, "You've already said the opposite." Zhou Jinshan laughed. "Junior sister Lu likes you. You should feel lucky. How dare you reject her? That's not right. Senior sister Lu is just being impulsive out of gratitude." Chu Li said, "If you're done talking, leave. Don't disturb me when I'm refining pills. Otherwise, don't blame me if I fail." "All right, I won't disturb you." Zhou Jinshan quickly nodded and left. Chu Li let out a long sigh and shook his head helplessly. Lu Zhan was really charming. Zhou Jinshan was so infatuated with her, and Zhou Jinshan was not the only one. He began to cultivate the 36 energy-nurturing forms again. Before he knew it, it was nighttime. The small courtyard was brightly lit. The bright light could not hide the bright red flame under the alchemy furnace. The high temperature made the small courtyard much hotter than outside. Chu Li sat near the furnace without breaking a sweat. His expression was solemn. After a day, it was a crucial moment. The reason why no one refined the detachment pill was not because of a lack of materials. The common knotgrass was not extinct. It was because the pill was too difficult to refine. It needed to go through several temperature changes. First, it had to be cold, then hot, then cold again. One change was difficult enough. Pill refining masters were few and far between now, because they were not talented enough. Almost no one could control the temperature after several changes. Normal refinement was bound to fail. Even blind guesses would not succeed. He suddenly raised his hand into the air. All the black stones under the alchemy furnace flew out. They were all bright red and looked like they were about to melt. The temperature of the alchemy furnace dropped. He took out a ladle of water and poured it on the alchemy furnace. Sizzle. White steam rose, and the alchemy furnace quickly cooled down. The medicine in the alchemy furnace was undergoing a strange change. Then he pushed his palms forward, and all the red-black stones flew back under the alchemy furnace to continue heating it. After a while, Chu Li sighed in relief. He had survived this change. There were still 2 more changes. As long as he could survive them, he would be able to refine the pill. Namo Amit Ba. A Buddhist chant echoed in the night sky. Monk Zhishan appeared on top of the wall of the small courtyard. His loose red monk robe fluttered in the night wind. Chu Li frowned. This was the crucial moment of refining the pill. He had come at the right time. Monk Zhishan looked at the alchemy furnace. Almsgiver Zhao, are you refining the pill? Chapter 37:37. P.S. The village's internet line is down. I've been trying to fix it, but it hasn't been fixed yet. Finally, I can't take it anymore and found a place to post it. Monk Zhishan pressed his palms together and bowed. Thanks to Almsgiver Zhao, I've just recovered from my injuries. How are your injuries? I'm all right. Chu Li sat quietly on the cattail hassock. Monk Zhishan shook his head. I think almsgiver Zhao's cultivation level has weakened again. What a pity. Zhao Day's cultivation base was far from what it had been the last time. It was obvious that Zhao Day's cultivation base had been greatly damaged after he was injured by Zhao Day. Zhao Day was overjoyed to see this. Chu Li said, Monk Shi Shan, I heard that you've solved the riddle of the womb. So, you should know who you were in your past life. Were you a man or a woman in your past life? Oomph. Monk Shi Shan's face darkened instantly. Chu Li chuckled. So you were a woman in your past life. No wonder. Monk Shi Shan said coldly. Almsgiver Zhao, don't you think you're talking too much? Chu Li said, I'm very curious about the mystery of being in the womb. If I was a woman in my past life, wouldn't it be a wonderful feeling? Don't you have a sense of confusion and can't tell whether it's male or female? Are you distressed? Monk Shi Shan said coldly. Almsgiver Zhao, are you waiting for reinforcements? Of course, I don't need any help. Chu Li shook his head. Help is useless against you, Monk Shi Shan. Besides, I can't handle it myself. Looks like Almsgiver Zhao is going to use his trump card. Monk Shi Shan scoffed. Chu Li raised his hand in the air, and half of the bright red-black stone flew to the bottom of the furnace. He said, I do have a trump card. This time, you won't be able to escape death. However, I'm still very curious about the mystery of being in the womb. What does it feel like? If I was a man in my previous life, it would be fine. I would only feel that the world has changed. However, I'm a woman in my previous life. I really can't imagine what it feels like. Monk Shi Shan, can you tell me about it? A cold glint flashed across Monk Shi Shan's eyes, but he quickly concealed it and said calmly, Almsgiver Zhao, since you've provoked me so much, it seems like you really have a trump card. In that case, I'd like to experience it for myself. Chu Li sized him up. Does Monk Shi Shan think it's better to be a woman or a man? Monk Shi Shan looked at the alchemy furnace. Almsgiver Zhao, what kind of pill are you refining? Chu Li chuckled. They're meant for women. Could it be that Monk Shi Shan likes them too? Was he influenced by his past life? Namo Amit Ba. Monk Shi Shan took a deep breath and suppressed his raging anger and murderous intent. He chanted the name of Buddha, and his voice echoed through the night sky. Everyone in the town defense prefecture heard him. How about I lend Almsgiver Zhao a hand? A dark and glossy crescent chakram flew out from his wide sleeve, whistling as it spun towards Chu Li. Chu Li lowered his head. Dang, 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 dang. The full moon struck the pill furnace. The more the pill furnace tried to stop it, the faster it spun, as if it wanted to cut the pill furnace apart. Sparks flew everywhere, and the sound was ear-piercing. It seemed to be competing with the pill furnace. It sped up with all its might, leaving behind marks on the pill furnace. Unfortunately, the pill furnace was very thick. It could only cut as deep as a fingernail before it was powerless to continue. Chu Li extended his hand and caught it. Monk Shi Shan also waved his hand. The crescent chakram was about to fly back into Monk Shi Shan's wide sleeve when Chu Li's hand caught it. He caught the crescent chakram. It felt cold to the touch, and a strange chill instantly entered his body, almost freezing him. The single slice of the universe's blade energy was originally hidden in his dantian, but it was awakened by this chill. Immediately, a blade energy shot out and dissolved the chill. The small crescent chakram was extremely heavy. It was as heavy as 2 buckets of water. If it was not for his divine power, he would have been caught off guard. Apart from the chill, the crescent chakram also contained a strange aura. It was a subtle, spiritual energy. Chu Li looked at the crescent chakram. The patterns carved on the crescent chakram seemed to have come to life as it trembled gently, trying to escape from his palm. Monk Shi Shan was not anxious when he realized that he could not summon the crescent chakra back. Another crescent chakram whizzed out his wide sleeve and shot towards Chu Li. Chu Li kept his head lowered. The crescent chakram suddenly spun, brushing past the pill furnace as it flew towards him. Ding! Chu Li hit the other crescent chakram in his hand away. The second crescent chakram spun in the air, but it did not cause any damage. Monk Shi Shan waved his hand, and the crescent chakram in his sleeve shot out a white light. Chu Li's body floated, and he moved away. Bang! The pill furnace shook. As the crescent chakram fell, Chu Li used the crescent chakram in his hand to attack it. The other crescent chakram instantly collided with the pill furnace. Clang, 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 clang. The crescent chakram collided with the pill furnace again. Monk Ji Shan shook his head. Almsgiver Zhao, it's useless even if you have the crescent chakram. It's mine after all. You can't use it. Chu Li replied. I'd rather throw them into the bottom of the lake. It's useless. Monk Ji Shan shook his head firmly. Chu Li reached out to retrieve the crescent chakram. It was extremely heavy to hold one crescent chakram in each hand. Monk Ji Shan scoffed, and a crescent chakram shot out in a white light. Chu Li lowered his head and dodged it. TSS. The crescent chakram silently penetrated the pill furnace like a knife cutting through tofu and embedded itself into the courtyard wall. Instantly, a rich medicinal fragrance gushed out and filled the courtyard. Ah! Zhou Jinshun shrieked as he lay on the roof. This furnace of detachment pills was where Junior's sister Lu's hope lay. How could it be destroyed by Monk Shishan, who deserved to be killed 100 times? Now that the pill furnace was damaged, the detachment pills could not be refined. It was completely over. He had to kill Monk Ji Shan, even if it meant risking his life. As soon as he moved, he stopped moving. His body felt empty. He had used up all of his inner energy when he used his light body technique to climb up to the roof. He had the heart to kill Monk Ji Shan, but he did not have the strength to do so. Chu Li did not look at the pill furnace. Instead, he stared coldly at Monk Ji Shan. Namo Amitabha. Monk Ji Shan pressed his palms together and chanted the name of Buddha. With a compassionate look on his face, he said, Living beings have suffered so much. It's better for you to return to the pure land of ultimate bliss. Chu Li said, Monk Ji Shan, you deserve to die. If I don't go to hell, who will? Monk Ji Shan pressed his palms together. Almsgiver Zhao, I'll take my leave now. I'll go and help the 2 female almsgivers. TSS. TSS. 2 soft whistles were heard at the same time. Chu Li's blade energy finally shot out. Ding! Monk Ji Shan raised 2 solar chakras and placed them on his chest and throat. He smiled. Almsgiver Zhao, don't tell me you think that I only have 2 solar chakras? He knew that Chu Li wanted to destroy his solar chakras, so he played along with him. When he saw Chu Li's gloomy expression, he felt a great sense of satisfaction. Chu Li took a deep breath and nodded. Good job. Farewell. Monk Ji Shan kept the 2 solar chakras and levitated to the wall. TSS, 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 TSS. Chu Li leaped to the bottom of the wall and waved his hands. More than 10 blade energies shot out at the same time. His meridians felt as if they were being cut by knives. Moo! Monk Ji Shan made a madra and let out a roar. His voice was like a lion's roar that resounded through the night sky. His loose red robe swelled up like a rubber ball. A strange aura circulated around his body. It was the aura of the Earth Matrix and reincarnation scripture. His body instantly turned into a wheel. It was unhindered, untouched, and all the force was deflected. A huge Buddha statue that had been hidden behind his back suddenly materialized. It revealed its true appearance and pounced into Monk Ji Shan's body. In an instant, Monk Ji Shan was as imposing as a mountain, looking down on all living beings. Chapter 37-38. Tisk TSK TSK Tisk. The single slice of the universe pierced through the red robe and into his body. Monk Ji Shan spat out a mouthful of blood and turned to look at Chu Li. His eyes were cold and devoid of human emotions. Then, the red robe stuck to his body like a deflated balloon and fluttered, lifting him into the air like a golden eagle flying into the distance. He was as fast as a ghost, disappearing into the night in the blink of an eye. Chu Li spat out a mouthful of blood and spat out all the injuries he had sustained. He only had a few blade energies left in his body, so he could not give chase. Bam! Zhou Jinshun rolled down from the roof, and the ground shook. Ignoring the pain, he quickly got up and staggered forward. Junior brother Zhao, what about the detachment pills? Chuli shook his head and went to the wall. He pulled out the sun chakram and put it into his sleeve before sitting on the cattail hassock again. I need to get a new alchemy furnace. Why didn't they come to help? Zhou Jinshun was displeased. Chuli replied, they're all injured and can't fight back. They'll only die if they come. They're also a burden. Senior brother Zhou, you go. I need to heal myself and continue refining pills. Don't worry, I'll make the detachment pills. All right. Zhou Jinshun sighed in relief. He was thankful as long as the detachment pills were fine. Li Ruolin, Ji Xin, and Lu Zhan appeared in the courtyard. They looked at the bloodstains on the ground and the condition of the alchemy furnace with burning eyes. Lu Zhan was not embarrassed to see Chuli again. Instead, she stared at the alchemy furnace with her beautiful face tensed up like a block of ice. Her body emitted a cold aura that deterred others from approaching her. Li Ruolin quickly asked, Junior brother, has Monk Zhishan left? Chuli nodded. His face was pale as he sat on the cattail hassock without moving. He said calmly, he's injured so he won't come back for now. You can refine pills in peace. Senior sister Li, get another alchemy furnace. Hurry up. Okay. Li Ruolin quickly answered. There are 2 more alchemy furnaces in the residence. She glided away. Soon, 4 strong young men carried the alchemy furnace into the courtyard. The alchemy furnace had already been cleaned, so Chuli heated it up. When it reached a certain temperature, he lifted his hand and opened the lid of the alchemy furnace. The fragrance of medicine filled the air again. He lifted the cauldron with one hand, turned it upside down, and patted it hard. Drop Ajwa? Tomb of Indica? What is it called? Ramji Xin stepped forward to help Chuli. He channeled his energy through his hand to block the scorching heat, but he soon realized that the alchemy furnace was much heavier than what Chuli had portrayed it to be. Chuli threw the old alchemy furnace aside and continued to add fire to the new alchemy furnace. He covered the furnace lid to hide the medicinal fragrance. All right, you guys can go back to your own business, Chuli said. We'll be able to see the detachment pill tomorrow. Can you really refine it? Lu Zhen's voice was hoarse. Chuli smiled. Don't worry, senior sister Lu, it'll be fine. All right. Lu Zhen nodded lightly and turned to leave. After the crowd dispersed, Chuli sat alone on the cattail hassock in the courtyard and continued to refine pills. When the fire had stabilized, he got up and started practicing the 36 energy-nurturing forms again. The original blade energy had completely dissipated. Now, it seemed that if it was not for the single slice of the universe, Monk Zhishan would not have been hurt by the blade energy. He had been using the sun and moon chakras to block the blade energy because he was showing weakness. Even if he did not use the sun and moon chakras, his protective divine power would have been able to deflect the blade energy. However, man proposes, God disposes. This time, he was faced with the indestructible single slice of the universe, which was tough enough for the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture to deflect. He withdrew his hand into his sleeve and touched the sun and moon chakras. The moon chakra was bone-chilling while the sun chakra was scorching hot. The 2 chakras were so powerful that he envied them. If he could turn them into his own, the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture's power could be fully unleashed. Unfortunately, he did not know how to activate it. The spiritual energy attached to it was the foundation. The source of this spiritual energy was Monk Zhishan, which meant that it was a secret technique of the Reincarnation Temple. It was impossible for them to pass it on to him. He could only try to obtain it in the future. Otherwise, the sun and moon chakras would just be a decoration. He tried to channel the energy of the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture into the sun chakra. Instantly, his inner energy condensed and compressed in the sun chakra, turning into an extremely solid force. With a whoosh, it shot out and hit a flower bed not far away. The petals flew everywhere and fell to the ground. It was a powerful force. Chuli activated the moon chakra again, and a whistling sound was heard. He tossed it out, and it spun in the air before it finally flew back to his hand. However, he did not dare to take it head-on. The moon did not recognize him and was still spinning at a high speed. He finally understood the function of the spiritual energy. Without it, the moon would treat him as an enemy. It would hurt both him and the enemy. However, it was powerful enough to be tossed out at a critical moment. As for the sun chakra, he could use it now. He was satisfied with these 2 chakras, as he had gained a lot. The next day, the courtyard was still brightly lit before dawn. Lu Jun, Li Ruolin, Zhou Jinshun, and GXN had already arrived at the courtyard and were waiting. Chu Li would remove the red-black stones and add them in. He would also pour water on the alchemy furnace and control the temperature. It's so complicated. Zhou Jinshun shook his head. GXIN sighed. Everyone had their own specialties. If he were in Chu Li's shoes, he would not know what was going on inside the alchemy furnace. Bang! Chu Li suddenly pushed his palm forward, and all the black stones flew up and fell to the corner of the wall. He poured a bucket of water on the alchemy furnace, and white steam rose. Chu Li stood in the white steam like an immortal. Everyone was amazed and could not help but ignore his ugly face. Bang! Chu Li hit the alchemy furnace with his palm and let out a muffled sound. Bang, 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 bang. Chu Li hit the alchemy furnace with his palm, energy, one after another. He walked around the alchemy furnace with an inexplicable rhythm. Finally, he circled the alchemy furnace 6 times and slowly put his palm in front of his chest. Is it done? Zhou Jinshun asked impatiently. Chu Li said, You can open the furnace now. Let me do it. Zhou Jinshun picked up the lid of the alchemy furnace and put it aside gently. Then, he poked his head into the furnace and retracted his head. There's no smell of medicine. He thought that it must be the smell of medicine, but he did not smell anything. It was clean and refreshing. There was only a pile of soybean-sized pills inside. Chu Li slammed his palm on the alchemy furnace again, and a string of pills flew out. He caught it with a box. The box was covered with a plain white silk, and the round, flawless pills, which were the size of soybeans, were warm and translucent. They were black and pure. Chu Li looked at these pills and smiled. They are indeed detachment pills. He took one out and popped it into his mouth. He chewed it slowly and tasted the medicine. After a while, it turned into saliva and flowed into his stomach. It turned into a pure energy that flowed through his body. He was instantly energized, his blood flow seemed to speed up, and his body heated up. He divided the pills into 3 portions. For pills in one portion, 20 pills in another, and 10 pills in the remaining portion. Li Ruolin passed the jade bottles to Chu Li, and he put them into the bottles. He then passed the jade bottle with 20 pills to Lu Jun. Senior Sister Lu, take 1 each morning and night. Make sure to eat more birds. I think you'll recover in about 10 days. Lu Jun hesitated for a while before she took the bottle. At this time, she suddenly became worried about personal gains and losses. There were only 20 pills, and she would be able to grow an arm in 10 days. It sounded unimaginable, as she couldn't and didn't dare to believe it. Chu Li smiled. It's only 10 days. You know what to try? Chapter 37-39. Chu Li passed the jade bottle with 4 pills to Li Ruolin. Senior Sister, please send this bottle to the forest where when Ting Dao and I agreed to meet. GXIN quickly said, Wait. He looked at Chu Li. Junior brother Zhao, are you really going to give it to Wen Ting Dao? Chu Li was confused. Why not? He's not a friend, he's an opponent. Why should I keep my promise? GXIN said, Moreover, if we give it to him, it'll only strengthen his abilities. It won't benefit us at all. Chu Li said with a straight face, I've always kept my promises to my friends and enemies. Junior brother Zhao, keeping your promises to your enemies means making things difficult for yourself. GXIN quickly said. He disagreed. When Ting Dao had no need to keep his promises. Moreover, even if he kept his promises, he would not. With how cunning he was, he would definitely use this to his advantage. Hence, he was asking for trouble. Listen to me this time, Chu Li said. Moreover, his left hand is injured. It has nothing to do with his abilities. Ji Xian looked at him disapprovingly. Zhou Jinshun said, I have the same thought as junior brother Ji. There's no need to keep your promises to a cunning opponent. I won't burn bridges after crossing the river. Chu Li said without his common knotgrass, there would be no detachment pills. He didn't give it to us willingly. Zhou Jinshun said, we defeated him and forced him to give it to us. Just ignore him. Chu Li shook his head. Senior sister Li Rulin said, all right, I'll send someone to deliver it. She glared at Ji Xian and Zhou Jinshun and said, the detachment pills are refined by junior brother Zhao. He can give them to whoever he wants. You're being too nosy and worrying too much. If you have the time, go cultivate instead of slacking off. Sigh. Ji Xian and Zhou Jinshun looked at Chu Li and shook their heads helplessly. Chu Li remained calm. Lu Zhen took the jade bottle and left with Li Rulin. Before she walked out of the courtyard, she looked at him with her bright eyes. Chu Li smiled at her. Lu Zhen scoffed. You're so inflexible. Chu Li's smile froze. Lu Zhen chuckled and left. Chu Li returned to his courtyard and laid on his bed to rest. He did not want to cultivate anymore. Where to get the common knotgrass after killing Wen Tingdao? Moreover, one had to cast a long line in order to catch a big fish. How would Wen Tingdao react after obtaining the detachment pill? 50 kilometers away from falling Autumn City, there was a Taoist temple on Heavenly Eagle Mountain. It was hidden by the forest, and it looked ancient and unadorned. Wen Tingdao and two middle-aged men were sitting at a stone table in the backyard of the Taoist temple. A jade bottle was placed on the stone table. It shone with a warm luster under the midday sun. All of them wore blue robes that were neatly arranged and spotless. They had an otherworldly aura that matched the aura of the Taoist temple. Junior Brother 1, is Zhao De really that kind to give us the detachment pill? The round-faced middle-aged man, Zhou Haoran, shook his head and said, I'm just afraid that he's up to no good. Could it be poison? There's even poison hidden in the pill. There were many pimples on his round face, which were the marks of his youth. He was not tall, but his eyes were so sharp that no one dared to look him in the eye. Wen Tingdao wore a white glove on his left hand. His handsome face was expressionless as he stared at the jade bottle. The square-faced middle-aged man, Zhang Xiaobua, said, logically, he wouldn't use such a despicable method. After all, the Holy Church of Light is one of the top sections. He was not tall, but he had a handsome face and a gentle smile. Just in case, Zhou Haoran said. Wen Tingdao suddenly picked up the jade bottle, took out a pill, and popped it into his mouth. Junior Brother 1. The two of them were shocked. Wen Tingdao swallowed the pill and said fiercely, so be it. I like to see what tricks he has up his sleeves. All right, I've already eaten it. Let's hope that Zhao De keeps his word. Zhou Haoran shook his head and said, however, I don't think it's reliable to keep one's word with one's opponent. Wen Tingdao waved his hand in annoyance. Senior brothers, I like some peace and quiet. You? The two of them shook their heads. Junior Brother 1 was good at everything. He was a genius in martial arts and was smart enough to fool his opponents. However, he had one fatal weakness. He cared too much about his appearance and could not bear to lose a finger. It was only his left hand. Even if his left hand was affected, his right hand was more than enough to handle the sword. However, he had to take the risk for 2 fingers on his left hand. Who knew what was hidden in the pill? Although they had sharp instincts and could sense if there was any poison in the pill, the 4 pills should not be poisonous. However, there were many pills in the world. Sometimes, poisonous pills were not the only ones that were deadly. Some special pills were even more torturous. After consuming the pill, Wen Tingdao sat on the bed and cultivated. He felt the effects of the pill as his blood boiled and flowed faster. The base of his finger was extremely itchy, and soon it hurt even more. The base of his finger was throbbing as if he had a headache. He could not sit still and could not cultivate in peace. He gritted his teeth and pretended that nothing had happened. At night, he consumed another pill. The pain in his finger became even more intense. He could not fall asleep the entire night. He gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He did not mention a word to his 2 senior brothers. Otherwise, they would nag at his ears again, blaming him for trusting Zhao De. The pain was even worse the next day, and he looked haggard. They noticed something was wrong with him when he was eating. He looked so haggard that there must be something wrong with the pill, so they forced him to take off his gloves. When Ting Dao could not persuade them, so he took off his gloves and revealed his left hand. There were no changes to his fingers, and they were still broken. The two of them shook their heads and sighed. I was right. Zhao Dai can't be trusted. Junior brother one, don't take that pill anymore. It's very uncomfortable, isn't it? Zhang Xiaobua shook his head. It seems like senior brother Zhou is right. Zhao Dai can't be trusted. When Ting Dao did not say anything and lowered his head to eat. Junior brother one, Zhang Xiaobua said in a deep voice, do you still trust Zhao Dai? There's only one left. When Ting Dao lifted his head and his eyes were bloodshot. I want to eat it. You? Zhou Haoran was furious. You're so stubborn. Can that guy be trusted? You're already in such a state. Won't you be tortured to death if you have another one? That's right. Zhang Xiaobua nodded. I think Zhao Dai is toying with you. Although he didn't poison you, it's disgusting. Zhou Haoran scoffed. Junior brother one, I'm not trying to criticize you, but you're usually a smart person. Why are you so obsessed with believing in an opponent? It's unbelievable. Zhang Xiaobua quickly waved his hand to stop him from saying that. Zhou Haoran scoffed and turned his head away from him. When Ting Dao put on his white gloves and lowered his head to eat without saying a word. If there's really a problem, call us immediately. Zhang Xiaobua patted his shoulder and sighed. The two of them left. One Ting Dao slammed his bowl on the ground with a gloomy expression. He took out the jade bottle and placed the last pill on his palm. His expression changed. One moment he was looking forward to it. The next moment he was hesitant. The next moment he was determined. And the next moment he was frowning. Chapter 3740. The pain in his fingers intensified. It was a few times more painful than when he had his fingers cut off. It was as if a saw was sawing at his fingers. Waves of pain surged through him. He bit the bedding and suppressed his moans. He tossed and turned, unable to fall asleep. He tossed and turned until midnight. The pain had subsided, but the exhaustion that had accumulated over the past 2 days had overwhelmed him. He finally fell asleep. In the early morning of the next day, he woke up slowly. He looked around. The bright sunlight shone through the window. His surroundings were very quiet. Birds were chirping under the eaves. It was another leisurely morning. He got out of bed and opened the window. Fresh air rushed into his face. He felt refreshed, and his body was light. Compared to yesterday, it was as if he had ascended to heaven from hell. It was a stark difference. He looked down at his left hand, and his eyes widened. 2 fair fingers appeared on his originally severed index and middle fingers. They were different from the rest of his fingers. They were fair and tender like a woman's delicate fingers. He moved his fingers and confirmed that they were indeed his own fingers. Then, he reached out to pick up a strand of hair on the table. He used his thumb, index finger, thumb, and middle finger respectively. They were all nimble and smooth, without any sense of awkwardness or abnormality. His fingers had actually grown. An indescribable excitement and the joy of regaining something he had lost overwhelmed him. He opened the door with a bang and rushed out of the house. He arrived in front of the Taoist temple. Zhou Haoran and Zhang Xiaobua were practicing their swordsmanship. Their movements were slow and their swords were like water. They looked at him with concern when they saw him. Zhou Haoran was still mad at him. He scoffed. You look good. One Ting Dao raised his left hand and showed it to them. Senior brothers, look. Take a good look. The two of them looked at his left hand and widened their eyes. It can't be fake, right? Zhou Haoran stepped forward and moved the 2 fair fingers. When Ting Dao suddenly clamped his fingers together, Zhou Haoran turned his fingers into claws and pecked at his fingers. When Ting Dao flicked his fingers, pow! A powerful force spread. Zhou Haoran retracted his hand and said in disbelief, It's really your fingers. You haven't lost any strength. Zhang Xiaobua said, They've really grown back. When Ting Dao laughed proudly, They've really grown back. These are my fingers. Huh. Originally, he did not think that his fingers were precious. After losing them and regaining them, He was pleasantly surprised and cherished them. 2 days to grow a finger, miraculous. Zheng Xiaobo exclaimed. This detachment pill really lives up to its name. The Sword Moon sect had a long heritage that was not inferior to the Holy Church of Light. The sect also had a pill scripture that was similar to the treasured pill scripture. He had heard of the detachment pill before. However, no one in the sect had ever succeeded in refining the detachment pill. Because of this, they knew that no one could successfully refine the detachment pill. Hence, they did not believe that Chu Li had taken out the detachment pill. Congratulations, junior brother one. The two cupped their fists and smiled. When Ting Dao cupped his fists and laughed out loud, he suddenly stopped and said softly, Senior brother Zhou, senior brother Zheng, I thought of Uncle Master who, Martial Uncle who. The two men's expressions changed slightly, and they looked at each other with bright eyes. When Ting Dao smiled, what do you think Master Senior whose reaction will be if he obtains the detachment pill? We must obtain the detachment pill. The two men said in a low voice. Zheng Xiaobo said, Master Senior whose swordsmanship is superb. He can't use a sword after his thumbs were chopped off. However, he's obsessed with swordsmanship and wants to cultivate the bloody garment divine power. That's why he's imprisoned in the Tide Listening Temple. If Master Senior who obtains the detachment pill, I wonder how happy he'll be. Our Sword Moon sect's strength will greatly increase. Don't tell Master Senior who yet. Otherwise, he'll definitely escape from Tide Listening Temple and snatch the detachment pill. Zhou Haoran said, It'll only ruin things. Zhao De is a genius in alchemy. He's also a trustworthy person. Zheng Xiaobo smiled. If it were me, I might not give junior brother one a detachment pill. It's too precious. He must have more detachment pills with him. Zhou Haoran scoffed. Why don't I snatch some from Master Senior who? That's a good idea. Zheng Xiaobo shook his head. However, we can't do that unless it's the last resort. Don't do it in one go. Other than Master Senior who, there are a few other Master Senior uncles who had their fingers chopped off. Some of them even broke their arms. If they can recover, we'll be rewarded greatly. We'll also be favored by the Master Senior uncles. With their guidance, our swordsmanship will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. He was in high spirits as he spoke. The other two were the same. The wonders of swordsmanship depended on one's own understanding and guidance from a wise master. Their master was a wise master, but if they could receive guidance from the Master Senior uncles, they would be able to benefit immensely. What should we do then? Zhou Haoran asked. When Ting Dao thought for a while. Senior brothers, why don't we trade with him? What kind of pills does he need? We can trade them with a detachment pill. What do you think? That's a good idea. Zhou Haoran nodded and smiled. The pills from the Li dynasty are far inferior. We could just take out some, and we'll be able to stun him into trading. Don't forget that he's a pill-refining master. Zheng Xiaobo shook his head. The three of them fell silent. When Ting Dao thought for a while. We'll trade the common knotgrass with him. That makes sense, Zheng Xiaobo said. But you have to be careful. The Holy Church of Light might not allow their disciples to trade privately. We're not friends with the Holy Church of Light. All right, I'll look for him in secret. When Ting Dao nodded, it was early in the morning. The air was fresh. Chu Li was cultivating the 36 energy-nurturing forms in the backyard. He suddenly stopped. Since you're here, show yourself. When Ting Dao was dressed in a blue tunic, he fanned himself and smiled. I'm here to thank you. Thank you, Brother Zhao, for the detachment pill. You're welcome. Chu Li did not stop and continued cultivating the 36 energy-nurturing forms. This is what we agreed on. I Zhao Day always keep my word. Brother Zhao, do you have any more detachment pills? Yes, but I want to give them to the Church of Light. I'll be rewarded greatly. How about you give us 4 more? When Ting Dao smiled. Brother Zhao, let me know if you have any requests. Chu Li shook his head. I was lucky this time, but I might not be able to do it again. I don't have many left, and there are many handicapped people in the church who need them more. I won't trade them, and I can't trade them with you. Sigh. When Ting Dao shook his head. The Sword Moon sect has spirit pills too. Brother Zhao, are you not interested? Chu Li shook his head. What if I trade them with martial arts? When Tingdao looked at him with a smile, Chu Li immediately asked, What martial arts? What martial arts do you want? When Tingdao's handsome face was full of smiles. As long as it's not our sex martial arts, you can ask for anything. The Reincarnation Temple's martial arts, Chu Li said. When Tingdao pondered, the Reincarnation Temple's martial arts are imparted through enlightenment. Outsiders can't see it. Chu Li said, Then there's nothing to see. The Reincarnation Temple's martial arts aren't invincible. When Tingdao shook his head, there are ways to restrain it. Chu Li shook his head. It's useless even if there are. My cultivation level is insufficient. There are spirit pills to recover inner energy. When Tingdao smiled, Chu Li frowned. Something like the miracle cure pill? When Tingdao nodded slowly. That's right. Chu Li waved his hand. That's even worse. It will be too easy to be caught. Spirit pills to recover martial arts were a taboo. When Tingdao frowned at him. The Haitsong Mountain's sword technique. Do you have a heart technique? No. When Tingdao shook his head. The Haitsong Mountain's heart technique is a secret. It can't be taught to outsiders. What's the use of that? Chu Li scoffed. The Haitsong Mountain sword technique is already top-notch, although it's slightly inferior to the Sword Moon sect. Our Divine Light Sword is already a top-notch sword technique. Chapter 3741. Chu Li looked at him coldly, his face expressionless. When Tingdao chuckled and stopped in boredom, he shook his head and said, That's quite funny. It's strange to say that the Divine Light Sword technique is a top-notch sword technique. The Divine Light Sword technique isn't one of the top-notch sword techniques in the world. Chu Li scoffed. What sword techniques are there then? Our Sword Moon Palace's sword techniques, Ultimate Sword, True Jade Sword, Azure Sword, and Star-Gazing Sword, are all top-notch sword techniques in the world. Even Haitsong Mountain sword techniques aren't considered top-notch, let alone your Great Radiant Sword. Chu Li frowned at him. He had never heard of any of these sword techniques. He couldn't be so ignorant, could he? When Tingdao grinned. Do you feel like you've never heard of any of them? Chu Li scoffed. It can't be nonsense, right? Ha! When Tingdao shook his head. It's only natural that you can't hear such things in the countryside. The world respects the Fu dynasty, and the Fu dynasty reveres Taoism. The Great One Palace is the orthodox Taoism of the world. The Great One Divine Sword is almost a divine skill, and no one can defeat it, Chu Li replied. There's no such thing as an invincible sword technique. The Greater One Divine Sword is not a sword made of ordinary iron. It is a sword made of spirit and qi. It is formless and hard to guard against. When Tingdao shook his head, it's truly the best sword in the world. Your Divine Light Sword is nothing compared to the Tai One Godly Sword. Chu Li frowned. There's such a sword technique? The world is vast, but you're only in the Li dynasty. The Li dynasty is a poor and remote place, so it's inevitable that your knowledge is limited. When Tingdao said with a smile, What do you think? Do you want to visit the Fu dynasty? Chu Li scoffed. No need. The Holy Church of Light is the overlord of the Li dynasty, but it's very ordinary in the Fu dynasty. If you join the Sword Moon sect, the Holy Church of Light won't be able to touch you. When Tingdao shook his head. You'll only know what prosperity is when you come to the Fu dynasty. Chu Li asked, What sword techniques do you have to exchange? You want a sword art? When Tingdao pondered for a moment before saying, There's a lesser ultimate sword in our sect. It's the basic sword technique of the ultimate sword. It's shockingly powerful and far more powerful than your Divine Light Sword. What's more, the ultimate sword doesn't require a specific sword manipulation mental technique. It can be activated with any mental technique, and its power depends on the mental technique. Chu Li shook his head. The ultimate sword is more like it. Forget about the less ultimate sword. The ultimate sword is the ultimate sword technique of the ultimate temple. It has never been taught to outsiders. When Tingdao could not help but laugh. We don't have the ability to obtain the ultimate sword. You're too greedy. Forget it then, Chu Li said. Normal sword techniques aren't worth the detachment pill. How about a few common knot grass? The common knotgrass is useless. I might not be able to refine it next time. Then tell me, what do I need to do to exchange? Unless it's one of the 8 sects' signature martial arts, I won't trade, Chu Li said. Haha. When Ting Dao pointed at him and said, Zhao Dei, you're being too greedy. It's just a detachment pill. It's not like it's a life-saving pill that can bring the dead back to life. Even if it's a detachment pill, it's not worth the sect guarding martial arts. Chu Li spread his arms. Have a safe trip. I won't be seeing you out. Why don't you think about it? When Ting Dao's face darkened, he said coldly, We're showing our sincerity. The less ultimate sword is far better than your divine light sword. It's already a top-notch sword technique. If you miss this chance, don't even think about getting it for the rest of your life. Chu Li shook his head. I won't trade. I won't trade anything other than the sect guarding martial arts. I see that your sincerity is limited. Forget it then. The detachment pill really can't compare to a life-saving pill. When Ting Dao stared at him, Chu Li stared back at him, unwilling to back down. All right, I hope you won't regret this. When Ting Dao said coldly, his figure blurred and disappeared. Chu Li turned his head and said, Senior sister, come out. Li Ruolin glided over the wall and landed in front of him. She looked at him with her charming eyes. Chu Li asked, What's wrong? Do you know what you've missed? Li Ruolin scoffed. She looked like she expected better from him. The less ultimate sword. Chu Li sat by the stone table and said lazily, So what? The less ultimate sword can completely replace our divine light sword. Li Ruolin said, If everyone cultivates the less ultimate sword, the Holy Church's strength will increase greatly. Do you know how much credit you'll get? Chu Li said, It's just the less ultimate sword. I want the ultimate sword. You're dreaming, Li Ruolin said impatiently. You want the ultimate sword like everyone else wants the great light scripture. Who can get it? There's a way, Chu Li said. Li Ruolin looked at his lazy expression and became angry. The detachment pill is yours anyway. You could do whatever you want with it. Just don't regret it. With the less ultimate sword, you can definitely become patrol. Chu Li was stunned. He straightened his body and asked, I can become a patrol? You're right. Li Ruolin glared at him. You forcefully pushed a patrol out. Chu Li said, So what if I push him out? It's just a patrol. How arrogant. Li Ruolin scoffed. Keep messing around. She left in a huff. Chu Li watched her leave leisurely. After a while, he turned around to look behind him. Bai Feng was dressed in white, and her face was covered with a white veil. She stood quietly in front of the bamboo forest, not far away. The green bamboos behind her swayed, and her white robe fluttered in the wind. Senior Bai, Chu Li fist saluted. Bai Feng floated over, and a faint fragrance entered the gazebo. She sat in front of Chu Li and looked at him quietly across the stone table. Chu Li smiled. Senior Bai, what are you looking at? I didn't expect you to grow so quickly. It's only been a few months. Bai Feng shook her head. You can already leave the mountain. Senior, you flatter me. Chu Li said, Senior, please let me know if you need anything. I'll do my best to help. Bai Feng hesitated for a while and lowered her voice. My sect is going to set up a formation outside the town. Don't tell anyone, not even altar leader Mo. That's a good thing. Chu Li said, Isn't it better if everyone supports it? There are too many people and everyone has their own agendas. They might not want this formation to succeed. Bai Feng scoffed. Just like altar leader Mo, he doesn't want the formation to succeed. Otherwise, all the credit will go to us, and he won't get any credit. Chu Li smiled. That's great. You have a grudge against altar leader Mo, don't you? I killed his niece. No wonder. Bai Feng came to a sudden realization. She was smart and could tell that Mo Qianjun was trying to trip Chu Li up. That's great. Don't tell him that I want to secretly set up the formation. What do you want me to do? Chu Li asked. I know formations too. I can help. You don't have to worry about the formation. You'll be on guard, Bai Feng said. Although only 2 or 3 of us know about it. We have to be wary of Monk Shishan and the others. All right, when do we start? Tonight, Bai Feng said. Come out from the back door. I'll come and pick you up. We'll leave the town quietly. All right. Chu Li nodded. Bai Feng fist saluted. That's it. Don't tell anyone. Chu Li patted his chest. Senior, don't worry. Chapter 3742. When the moon was high up in the sky, Chu Li sneaked out from the backyard and met up with Bai Feng. After walking along the main road for 10 miles, they arrived at the forest beside the main road. This main road was the only way to Falling Autumn City. If they wanted to march, they would have to pass through this place. There was no other way. There were a middle-aged woman and a middle-aged man in the forest. The woman was still charming, while the man was handsome, and they looked alike. They were walking on the treetops above the forest and had circled a few rounds in a short while. Masters Junior Chung, Masters Junior Chung. Bai Feng fist saluted. Can we begin? Yes, we can. The two nodded. The middle-aged woman looked at Chu Li. Is this the famous Zhao Day? Yes. Bai Feng smiled. Young Master Zhao is here to help. If there are enemies, he can stop them. We'll have to rely on you, young brother Zhao. The middle-aged woman smiled. Big brother, and I need to focus on setting up the formation. We can't afford to be distracted. You and young Feng will be in charge of the situation outside. If there's any danger, we'll retreat. Chu Li fist saluted. Bai Feng had already explained to him on the way here that the two of them were siblings. Chung Lin and Chung Sun were both formation experts. When they worked together to set up a formation, they could fight against an army of tens of thousands. However, such a formation could not be completed by one person. Fortunately, the siblings were connected and had a tacit understanding. That was how they managed to set up such a formation. Chu Li and Bai Feng guarded the south and north respectively. Chu Li was in the south, while Bai Feng was in the north. If enemies came, one of them would cover the rear, while the other would provide support. This was to ensure that Chung Sun and Chung Lin could return to the city safely. The night passed peacefully. Chung Sun and Chung Lin were progressing smoothly. When it was almost dawn, the four of them returned to the city. Based on their progress, they would be able to set up the formation in 3 more nights. By then, Falling Autumn City would not have to worry about being attacked by an army. Such a contribution would be enough to shock the world. Chu Li quietly returned to his house at dawn and meditated. After an unknown period of time, he heard hurried footsteps outside. He opened his eyes and saw the bright morning sun shining on the window. He got out of bed and opened the window to ask Ji Xin, Senior brother Ji, what's the matter? Ji Xin said anxiously, Junior sister Li is missing. Gone? Chu Li frowned and used the omniscient mirror to look around. Indeed, Li Ruolin was nowhere to be seen. She could not be seen in the entire town defense prefecture. Did she go out by herself? Ji Xin took out a letter and handed it to Chu Li through the window. It's for you. Chu Li turned around and walked out of the house. He pushed the door open and sat down by the stone table in the courtyard. He took the letter and glanced at it. His face darkened. Ji Xin glared at him in dissatisfaction. Chu Li scoffed. Wen Tingdao, Ji Xin said, you shouldn't have given someone like him the detachment pill. Did he cause trouble? Fat meat attracts evil wolves. Chu Li took a deep breath. It was written by Wen Tingdao. In the letter, Zhao Dai suddenly invited Miss Li to be his guest for a few days and told him not to worry. When the time came, he would send Miss Li back respectfully. He did not have any ill intentions. He just wanted to thank young Master Zhao Dai for giving him the detachment pill. Ji Xin scoffed. What guest? It's obvious that they're threatening you to hand over the detachment pills. Junior brother Zhao? Chu Li remained silent. Ji Xin said, we shouldn't have given it to him in the first place. Chu Li cast a sidelong glance at him. Ji Xin's expression changed and his heart sank. He knew that he could not bring up the past, but he was still unwilling to give up. He said angrily, Junior brother Zhao, what should we do? Should we report this to Altar Leader Mo? No need. Chu Li shook his head. What should we do then? Ji Xin said anxiously. We can't just do nothing and wait for Wen Tingdao to send Junior Sisterly back, can we? A despicable person like him won't be able to send Junior Sisterly back. Chu Li stared at the letter and flipped it around as if he was trying to decipher the meaning behind it. Ji Xin became angry when he saw that Chu Li was calm and not anxious at all. He yelled, Junior brother Zhao, what should we do? Let's wait, Chu Li said. They have a favor to ask, so they won't dare to do anything to senior sister Li. You're too calm, Xin said impatiently. Junior sister Li is a woman. There are too many ways to deal with her. Any one of them could ruin junior sister Li's life. Chu Li put down the letter. Senior sister Li is important to you, senior brother Ji, but she's not important to the Sword Moon sect. She's far less important than the detachment pills. Would they do that if they lose the chance to obtain the detachment pills for an unimportant woman? You're underestimating them. Xin scoffed. Chu Li asked, Did Wen Tingdao write another letter to you? Xin was stunned, and his expression changed. He took out a letter from his pocket. He threw this in my courtyard. It's scary to think that he threw it here without anyone noticing. Chu Li took a glance at it and shook his head. This Wen Tingdao likes to do this. Wen Tingdao said in the letter that he would release Li Ruolin as long as he obtained 4 detachment pills. Otherwise, even if Li Ruolin was released, her face would be disfigured and the detachment pills would be useless. This hit Xin's weak spot. He could not imagine what a disfigured Li Ruolin would look like. Chu Li threw the letter aside and shook his head. Don't worry. If junior sister Li's face is disfigured, I'll refine a batch of muscle-growing pills for her. I guarantee that she'll recover to her original state, or even better than before. Really? Xin asked. Chu Li smiled. I won't talk about anything else, but in terms of alchemy, no one can compare to me. Xin smiled and let out a long sigh of relief. His body relaxed. He struggled when he received the letter. On one side was junior sister Li, and on the other side was Zhao De. He could not betray either of them and was stuck in a dilemma. In the end, he even thought of stealing junior sister Li's detachment pills. However, he could not do it when he thought of her terrible condition. Chu Li said, So, don't worry, senior brother Ji. Let's wait and see. I don't think they have the guts to do it. All right. Xin nodded reluctantly. He had no other way as he could not find the Sword Moon sect. Moreover, his light body technique was not as good, so it would be useless even if he found them. Xin fist saluted and left Chu Li's courtyard. Chu Li sneered. Wen Tingdao was really using both the carrot and the stick to obtain the detachment pills. All the more reason not to give it to him. Wen Tingdao guessed that someone important needed the detachment pills. Once they obtained the detachment pills, the Sword Moon sect strength would improve greatly. Since the Sword Moon sect and the Holy Church of Light were not enemies, it would not matter if their strength increased. Moreover, it would be best if they were enemies. However, the detachment pills were a rare commodity now. He could not exchange them easily. Moreover, not exchanging them would be the best solution. If he presented them to the saint directly, the saint would know that he had rejected the less ultimate sword and resisted the temptation of becoming a patrol. If he presented the detachment pills, the Holy Church of Light could exchange the detachment pills with the Sword Moon sect in exchange for the less ultimate sword. How could the saint not reward him for his great contribution? He would definitely be promoted to the position of patrol. In fact, he might even get more because he had shown his loyalty to the Holy Church of Light. Although his contribution was worthy of praise, his loyalty was even more valuable. Chapter 3743. However, this was just wishful thinking and it might not work out. Wen Tingdao was not a pushover either. He was meticulous and would not give up so easily. At that moment, a maid knocked on the door and entered the courtyard. She curtsied. Young Master Zhao. Altar leader Mo wants to see you. Chu Li looked at the maid thoughtfully and nodded lightly. All right, I understand. The pretty maid was shocked when she saw his burning gaze. She quickly turned around and left. Chu Li was deep in thought when he saw the maid's thoughts. He left the courtyard and arrived at Mo Qianjuan's courtyard. Mo Qianjuan's courtyard was about 5 times the size of their courtyard. It was arranged into a small garden with a gazebo, a stream, fake mountains, and trees. The octagonal gazebo was located at the east side of the courtyard. It had red pillars and red eaves, giving it an ancient vibe. It was surrounded by fake mountains and flowing water. Mo Qianjun was sitting in the main seat in the gazebo. Lu Jun, Zhou Jinshun, and even Ji Xan, who had just left him, was there too. He was listening to Mo Qianjun with a cup of tea. Lu Jun placed her teacup on the table and stared blankly at the tea. Her pretty face was cold and pale. She had yet to recover. Zhou Jinshun twisted his body from time to time as he held his teacup. On the other hand, Ji Xian was absent-minded as he was still thinking about Li Rulin and the Sword Moon sex threat. Even if junior brother Zhao had the muscle-gaining pill, there were too many ways to hurt a woman, not just her appearance. He wondered if junior sister Li had suffered other injuries. She must be in pain now. It must have been terrible to be caught. He wished he could take her place. When he recalled Chu Li's calm and composed expression, he could not help but feel annoyed. It seemed like he had worried too much. Chu Li did not like junior sister Li at all. That was why he was so careless. If it wasn't for everyone's help, my position as an altar leader would have come to an end. Mo Qianjun raised his teacup and laughed heartily. I shall use tea in place of wine to thank everyone. You're too kind. Zhou Jinshun quickly raised his teacup. Altar leader Mo, you're too kind. This is what we should do. We're from the same faction. How can we leave her in the lurch? Everyone drank their tea in one gulp. What a good fellow disciple. Mo Qianjun put down his teacup, clapped his hands, and said with a smile, "This is the foundation of our holy cult. The disciples of the cult work together, and that's why the holy cult is so strong and can look down on its peers." That's right. Zhou Jinshun smiled. He looked around and noticed that both Lu Jun and Ji Xian were in a daze. If he did not say anything, altar leader Mo would not be able to extricate himself. Chu Li slowly walked to the gazebo and gave a fist salute. Everyone turned to look at Zhang Xian. Lu Jun's eyes flickered as she sized him up. Ji Xian glanced at him before looking away. He was still a little displeased. Zhou Jinshun chuckled. Junior brother Zhao, come here quickly. Mo Qianjun gave a fist salute and smiled. Junior brother Zhao, I have to thank you sincerely. It's all thanks to you that you managed to severely injure monk Zhishan. Otherwise, falling Autumn City would have been defeated by him alone. We would have become a joke. Chu Li replied coldly. You're too kind, altar leader Mo. It's hard to say how badly injured monk Zhishan is. He might come back at any time. As long as I can injure him and make him fearful, it's fine. Mo Qianjun laughed heartily. Come, let me replace wine with tea. A toast to you, junior brother Zhao. A young maid walked over gracefully and served him a cup of tea with both hands. It was the maid who went to inform Chu Li earlier. Mo Qianjun drained his cup in one gulp and showed the bottom of the cup. Chu Li also drained his cup in one gulp and sat opposite Lu Jun. Although he did not want to be perfunctory with him, he still had to keep up appearances. This was the basic quality of a human being. Good, that was satisfying. Mo Qianjun laughed heartily. His laughter filled the entire courtyard. His hearty and heroic manner was infectious. Theoretically, you could have left immediately after delivering the pills. However, I had to stay behind to help and put you in danger. Zhou Jinshun waved his hand. What are you talking about, altar leader Mo? This is our chance to make a contribution. He, junior brother Zhou, has a pure heart. Good, good. Altar leader Mo laughed. Now, that monk Zhishan has been injured. You can take a breather for now. You can leave Falling Autumn City and report back to your superiors. He suddenly frowned. All right, why haven't we met junior sister Li yet? Zhou Jinshun looked at Ji Xian and Lu Jun looked at him too. Ji Xian said, Junior sister Li had an urgent matter to attend to and left first. She asked me to apologize on her behalf. What's so urgent? Zhou Jinshun was puzzled. We could have helped if she told us. There's no need for help. Ji Xian shook his head. He glanced at Chu Li. This matter was not suitable to be mentioned. It would be fine if she was captured by a man, but it would be difficult to explain it to a woman. It would always be inappropriate, and even if she was rescued in the end, people would inevitably look at her differently. Therefore, this matter should be kept a secret. It would be fine as long as he and Zhao Dai knew about it. Both of them were close to junior sister Li, so they could help her keep the secret. As long as junior sister Li returned, they could pretend that nothing had happened. Chu Li sized up Mo Qianjun. A smile flashed across Mo Qianjun's eyes. There was a slight ripple in his heart. It was so fast that it seemed like it had never happened. Mo Qianjun sized up Xin and sighed to himself that he was still immature and inexperienced. He glanced at the maid at the entrance of the main hall. It was so subtle that the maid nodded and was about to walk over. Chu Li coughed softly to attract everyone's attention. He knew what Mo Qianjun was planning. Next, the maid appeared and pretended to have found a letter by accident. It was a letter left behind by the Sword Moon sect. It clearly stated that they had invited Li Ruolin over to discuss the matter of exchanging the detachment pills. They also asked altar leader Mo to forgive them for being rude and to visit them another day. Once the letter was sent, Mo Qianjun would have a legitimate reason to ask him to hand over the detachment pills. He would discuss with the Sword Moon sect about redeeming Li Ruolin. He did not care if it would ruin Li Ruolin's reputation. Moreover, Li Ruolin was close to him, and he had already vented his anger on her. By taking care of her, it would serve as a warning to the people in the Church of Light. If he did not hand over the detachment pills, it would mean that he was selfish and heartless. Even if Zhou Jinshun and Lu Zhan did not sever ties with him, they would still distance themselves from him. If news of this spread to the Church of Light, he would be completely isolated. If he handed over the detachment pills, Mo Qianjun would exchange them with the Sword Moon sect and build a relationship with them. However, this was different from him building a relationship with the Sword Moon sect. He was doing this for the sake of his junior sister. He would then obtain the less ultimate sword and present it to the Church of Light. With this achievement, Mo Qianjun would be able to become a priest. He secretly shook his head. Those who were able to ascend to such a high position were not easy to deal with. Mo Qianjun looked heroic on the outside, but he was thick-skinned and vicious on the inside. Wen Tingdao was also very cunning. Wen Tingdao's move had ruined his wishful thinking. He was pressuring him step by step until he had no choice but to exchange the pills. Everyone's attention was focused on him. The maid from afar was holding a letter as she walked towards him. Chu Li's gaze lingered on Mo Qianjun's face with a faint smile on his face. Mo Qianjun had goosebumps from his stare. He wondered if Chu Li had noticed something. Altar leader Mo, I found a letter when I was cleaning the house, the maid said from outside the pavilion. Oh, Mo Qianjun quickly turned around. Chu Li coughed softly and shook his head. Actually, senior brother Ji hasn't finished speaking. Li Ruolin does have an urgent matter, but it needs to be kept a secret. What is it? Zhou Jinshun urged. Junior brother Zhao, tell us quickly. We're not outsiders. Chapter 3744. Chu Li coughed softly and interrupted him. Senior sister Li is actually going to meet the people from the Sword Moon sect. The Sword Moon sect? Zhou Jinshun raised his voice and frowned. Junior sister Li is going to meet the people from the Sword Moon sect alone? Chu Li replied, one person is enough. Moreover, this has to be kept a secret. If the other three sects find out, they'll definitely try to stop us. I see. Zhou Jinshun nodded slowly. Lu Zhan looked at Xin. Xin looked hesitant. He glanced at Chu Li and nodded helplessly. Junior sister Li said to keep a secret. She's going to scout ahead. She didn't tell anyone because she's afraid that they'll stop her. Mo Qianjun was furious. Chu Li's words made his well-prepared plan go down the drain. All his efforts were wasted, and his wishful thinking did not work. He remained calm and feigned ignorance. The Sword Moon sect has nothing to do with us. They're a famous sect in the Fu dynasty. Why would we meet them? We have a grudge against the Sword Moon sect. Chu Li said, back then, a disciple from the Sword Moon sect came to the Li dynasty to cause trouble. Senior brother Ji was ordered to chase them into the Fu dynasty and kill them, which led to the Sword Moon sect's revenge. If they're enemies, would she dare to meet them? Mo Qianjun frowned. The Sword Moon sect is not to be trifled with. Chu Li said, I refined a batch of detachment pills for senior sister Lu that can regrow severed limbs. The Sword Moon sect want a few pills, and said that they'll exchange the less ultimate sword for them. Senior Sister Lee went there to discuss the exchange. Nonsense, Mo Qianjun shouted. Who gave you the right to exchange without permission? This is a big taboo. I've already reported it to the saint. If she agrees, we'll exchange. Chu Li replied, if the saint doesn't agree to it, then forget it. However, such a good deal is rare. Obtaining the less ultimate sword technique will only bring benefits to the Holy Church of Light. It's just a few pills, not life-saving spirit pills. His words made Mo Qianjun even more furious. If he reported it to the saint in advance, he would not be able to get any credit. This Zhao Dai deserved to die. Aren't you afraid that they'll hold Junior Sister Lee captive and threaten you to hand over the detachment pills? Mo Qianjun scoffed. Chu Li shook his head and said, if they really want to trade, they won't do it in one go. If they really want to do that, we could just give it to them. It's just a few pills. How can they compare to Senior Sister Lee? They will be greedy and threaten us again and again. Mo Qianjun snorted. Chu Li said, there's nothing we can do about it. We'll just give it to them. It's not like it's a life-saving spirit pill. Besides, it's useless for them to want so many of them. In my opinion, they won't hand over the less ultimate sword technique. Instead, they'll detain Junior Sister Lee and threaten you to hand over the detachment pills. The sects of the Fu dynasty are very arrogant. They don't respect the sects of the Li dynasty at all. His gaze was like a torch as he carefully observed Ji Xian's expression. He vaguely guessed that Chu Li was not telling the truth. It was highly likely that the Sword Moon sect had secretly captured Li Ruolin to threaten Chu Li to hand over the detachment pills. Chu Li smiled faintly. So, Altar Leader Mo, are you saying that we won't hand over the detachment pills if they hold Senior Sister Lee captive? Well, Mo Qianjun hesitated. Zhao Dai had forced him to the edge of cliff. Everyone knew that they could not compromise under such circumstances. Otherwise, they would only attract more trouble. However, no one could say that. Otherwise, they would be cold-blooded and would be reviled by others. Chu Li picked up his teacup and took a sip. That's it. Mo Qianjun scoffed. All right, junior brother Zhao. Since you're confident, I won't interfere. I'll wait for the less ultimate sword. Chu Li said lazily. Whether it succeeds or not depends on the saint and the Sword Moon sect. It's still too early to say. If that's the case, you can't leave Falling Autumn City. Mo Qianjun shook his head. Falling Autumn City is in danger now. It's fine, Zhou Jinshun quickly said. Let's wait for Junior Sister Lee to come back. Ji Xian nodded. All right, I wish you all the best. Let's exchange for the less ultimate sword. Mo Qianjun smiled. Come, let's have another toast. The maid tactfully passed the letter to Mo Qianjun. Then, she filled everyone's teacups and left quietly. Chu Li sized up the maid. Altar Leader Mo, I'm lacking a servant. Why don't you send this lady over? She's quick and efficient. I'm quite satisfied with her. Mo Qianjun's expression changed. He waved his hand. If you're lacking a servant, I'll find one for you. I'm used to her, so I can't bear to give her to you. He knew that this was Chu Li's revenge and warning. That damned Zhao Dai had found his weakness. Chu Li looked regretful. I've always said that Altar Leader Mo is generous. Mo Qianjun laughed. No matter how generous I am, I won't simply give away the people around me. All right, you guys can continue with your work. Yes. Everyone stood up. Junior Sister Lu, are the detachment pills useful? Mo Qianjun asked. Lu Jin replied coldly, I don't know. After she finished speaking, she left gracefully on her own. Mo Qianjun was not angered by her retort. Instead, he shook his head and smiled bitterly. Junior Sister Lu is still blaming me, Zhou Jinshun said. Junior Sister Lu has such a temper. Altar Leader Mo, please don't lower yourself to her level. Of course not. Mo Qianjun waved his hand and smiled. Junior brother Ji, you don't look so good. Ji Xian forced a smile. It's nothing. Don't worry too much. Mo Qianjun looked at him with concern and smiled. Junior sisterly is bold, but careful. She'll do well. Yes. GXIN's expression became even worse. He did not look at his smiling face. Let's go to my place. Chuli interrupted Mo Qianjun. GXIN immediately nodded as if a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. Zhou Jinshun followed them to Chu Li's courtyard. Mo Qianjun stared at their retreating silhouettes with the same smile on his face. He slowly picked up his teacup and took a sip. Then, he let out a long breath. The fragrance of the tea permeated the air as if he had vented all of his frustrations. He paid great attention to controlling himself. Even if he was extremely angry, he could not show it on the outside. He could not vent his anger on anything and let others know what he was thinking. Phew! Once they entered Chu Li's courtyard, GXN sat by the stone table and let out a long sigh. He was almost scared to death just now. His heart had been hanging in midair. Now, he could finally relax. I almost got tricked. GXIN was not stupid. Judging from the fight between Chu Li and Mo Qianjun, he could guess that Mo Qianjun wanted to take the detachment pills away. Fortunately, junior brother Zhao had stopped him. When he thought about the consequences of Mo Qianjun revealing the truth, junior sister Li's reputation would be ruined. He hated Mo Qianjun to the core. It was already a miracle that he was able to hold back his anger. Zhou Jinshun looked at Mo Qianjun's expression and then at Chu Li. He vaguely understood what Mo Qianjun was thinking. What should we do? Zhou Jinshun moved closer to Chu Li and asked, Are we really not going to give the detachment pills to junior sister Li? Chu Li scoffed. We have to give it attachment pills, but how we're going to give it to her is a big problem. Plans could not keep up with changes. At this point, if he insisted on not exchanging with the Sword Moon sect and insisted on handing the detachment pills to the saint, he would be cold-blooded and would not be rewarded much. Under the threat of the Sword Moon sect, handing over the detachment pills was not a rational choice. In fact, it was a stupid move. However, it would show that he was loyal to his friends, which would make it easier for him to be put in an important position. Sometimes it depended on the saint's decision to give him the detachment pills. It depended on what kind of task she would assign to him. If he could gain her favor, it would be worth it even if he had to sacrifice some of his contributions. Hurry up, junior sister Li is in their hands. Zhou Jinshun said anxiously. Don't hurt junior sister Li. I'm going out for a while. Chu Li stood up. Where are you going? Zhou Jinshun asked. I'm looking for Wen Tingdao to bring senior sister Li back. GXIN quickly asked, Junior brother Zhao, can you find Wen Tingdao? Chapter 3745. Let's go together then. Zhou Jinshun quickly said. Chu Li shook his head. I'll go alone. There's strength in numbers, Zhou Jinshun said. Chu Li glanced at him. You're a burden now. You'll only cause trouble if you go. Both Zhou Jinshun and GXIN were suffering from the aftereffects of the secret skill. Their cultivation levels were almost crippled, so they could not fight anyone. When Mo Qianjun saw this, he pretended to be unaware of it. He even thanked them generously and asked them to leave. If anything happened to them, he would be implicated as well. You, Zhou Jinshun stared at him angrily. Chu Li stared back at him. Zhou Jinshun was annoyed. All right. I'm a burden, all right? Can you do it yourself? Piece of cake, Chu Li said. GXIN was annoyed too. He scoffed. Why are you dawdling if you can find junior sister Li? He could have found junior sister Li, but he did not. Instead, he was dawdling and did not care about junior sister Li's life at all. How detestable. It's not a big deal. I need to find out what altar leader Mo is up to. I don't want my escape route to be cut off. Chu Li scoffed. This altar leader Mo. GXN gritted his teeth. He recalled Mo Qianjuan's cunning and evil ways and was worried about Li Ruolin. He quickly said, Hurry up and go. Chu Li glared at him angrily. Take out all your energy cultivating pills. Zhou Jinshun and GXIN each took out 2 bottles and passed them to him. They knew that he really needed the energy pills. His cultivation level was not high enough. Without the energy pills, his inner energy would be depleted and he would not be able to continue. Wait for the good news. Chu Li waved his hand and strode out of the town defense prefecture. He left falling Autumn City and headed for the Taoist temple 50 miles away. He was extremely fast. He used the omniscient mirror to scan his surroundings and soon saw Li Ruolin in his mind. Under the bright and beautiful sunlight, the ancient Taoist temple seemed to be filled with vitality. Li Ruolin was sitting in front of a stone table in the front yard of the temple. Wen Tingdao was sitting opposite her. Wen Tingdao fist saluted. "Miss Li, we invited you here as a guest. We mean no harm. Is this how you invite me?" Li Ruolin sneered. "You used senior brother Ji to lure me here. Is this how you treat your guests?" She received a letter in the middle of the night, and it contained a piece of Ji Xian's jade pendant. She panicked out of concern and chased after the person who delivered the letter. She chased the person for 25 miles before she arrived at this Taoist temple and saw Wen Tingdao there. She knew that she had been tricked the moment she saw Wen Tingdao. Wen Tingdao waved his folding fan and smiled. "If I didn't do this, Lady Li wouldn't have come. It's difficult to invite her, so this is the only way. Junior brother Zhao won't agree to it." Li Ruolin said calmly, "You're wasting your efforts." When Tingdao closed his folding fan and lightly tapped his palm. "Do you think we're using you to threaten young Master Zhao? You're wrong. You think too lowly of us." "Humph, how despicable." Li Ruolin laughed mockingly. "If they were not despicable, then who was?" Wen Tingdao pretended not to hear her and smiled. "We're inviting Lady Li to be our guest. We're not forcing you. We're just using some tricks. However, a treat is a treat, not a captive. If Lady Li doesn't like it, you can leave any time. We won't stop you." "Really?" Li Ruolin frowned in disbelief. Wen Tingdao smiled. "Lady Li, you're free now." Li Ruolin stood up and left eagerly. When she reached the entrance of the Taoist temple, she turned around and saw Wen Tingdao playing with his wine cup. He looked at her with a smile and had no intention of making a move. Wen Tingdao gestured for Li Ruolin to go ahead. Li Ruolin frowned. "What are you trying to do?" "We're just expressing our sincerity." Wen Tingdao smiled warmly. "We're exchanging the less ultimate sword technique with young Master Zhao for the detachment pills." "This is sincerity?" Li Ruolin scoffed. Wen Tingdao smiled and nodded. "Not when you can. This is sincerity." Li Ruolin's charming face darkened. She immediately understood Wen Tingdao's threat. This time, he was letting her leave safely. If she did not exchange the detachment pills, she might not be able to leave the next time. "All right, Lady Li, this is the first half of the less ultimate sword technique." Wen Tingdao took out a thin booklet and tossed it to Li Ruolin. The thin booklet was carried to Li Ruolin as if it was carried by an invisible hand. Li Ruolin took it, but did not flip through it. Wen Tingdao smiled. "If young Master Zhao is interested in the exchange, you can leave the detachment pills at the same place. We'll also leave the second half of the sword technique at the same place. If you're still worried, you can go over there and read the sword technique first before giving us the detachment pills." "Aren't we being very sincere?" "Very sincere indeed." Chu Li snorted and stepped into the Taoist temple. Wen Tingdao's smile remained the same, but he frowned. He did not notice Chu Li's approach. Chu Li shook his head. "Wen Tingdao, why are you playing tricks? Hand over the second half of the sword technique, and we can exchange it now." "Junior brother Zhao," Li Ruolin quickly said. "Really?" Wen Tingdao's smile widened. Chu Li scoffed. "The less ultimate sword can only be exchanged for 2 detachment pills." Wen Tingdao's handsome face turned gloomy. "2 pills." Chu Li nodded. "Only 2 pills. I originally wanted to give you 3 pills, but you overreached yourself, so I can only give you 2. If you disturb Senior Sister Li again, you can only give me 1 pill. Are you messing with us?" Wen Tingdao's handsome face darkened. "What's the use of 2 pills?" Chu Li said, "If I break 1 finger, 2 pills will be enough. What about 2 fingers? Then I can only grow half of them. 4 pills." Wen Tingdao said in a deep voice. "Otherwise, we won't exchange." "That's great." Chu Li spread his hands. "Do you think the Sword Moon sect has the Holy Church of Light under your thumb?" If you provoke us, we'll just charge into the Fu dynasty and take care of the Sword Moon sect. I'll just take out the detachment pills and let the other sects deal with your Sword Moon sect disciples. Can you stand it? In your dreams, when Ting Dao could not help but laugh as he shook his head. The Fu dynasty's martial arts world will never listen to the Holy Church of Light. I'll just get someone from the Fu dynasty to step in. Chu Li pouted. The Sword Moon sect must have many enemies too, right? You'll be the sinner if both sides suffer great losses. When Ting Dao's expression changed slightly, but he remained silent. At the end of the day, he did not want to fall out with Chu Li over a few detachment pills. After all, Chu Li was a talented and rare pill refining master. They might even be able to obtain other rare pills from him in the future. Otherwise, the Sword Moon sect would not have been so lenient. They could have just captured Li Ruolin and forced Chu Li to hand over the detachment pills. Then I'll add another bottle of strengthening pills. When Ting Dao scoffed, "That's our secret medicine," Chu Li said calmly. "All right, I'll exchange." Chapter 3746. He had seen this kind of spirit pill in the treasured pill scripture, but the Holy Church of Light did not have this kind of spirit pill due to the lack of a few spirit herbs. In order to replenish their blood essence, they usually ate more birds and beasts. Lu Jun, for example, needed a large amount of blood essence to recover her arm. Unfortunately, she didn't have a spirit pill like the vitality enhancement pill, so she could only rely on eating more birds and beasts. However, this replenishment speed was limited, so it would take about 10 days. The speed at which one replenished their blood essence also determined the rate of recovery. Similarly, if one grew an arm, the arm would grow stronger if it had an abundant supply of blood essence. If the blood essence was not abundant, the arm would be like the arm of a baby, and it would need to grow stronger step by step. Although the blood essence of martial artists was strong, it was still not enough to regrow limbs. All right, when Ting Dao was overjoyed, he did not expect Chu Li to agree to it. Chu Li said, "A bottle of strengthening pills and the less ultimate sword. Hand it over now." One Ting Dao took out a jade bottle and a thin booklet without hesitation and tossed them to Chu Li. Chu Li took it and flipped through the sword manual. Then, he took the one in Li Ruolin's hand and flipped through it again. He nodded thoughtfully. It was indeed an exquisite sword technique. The moves were exquisite and could make up for the lack of skills. He then pulled out the cork of the bottle and poured out 10 perfectly round red pills. He nodded in satisfaction and took out a jade bottle from his bosom and tossed it over. When Ting Dao opened it and saw 4 soybean-sized pills inside, they were the detachment pills that he had consumed before. He nodded in satisfaction and smiled. "Brother Zhao, we're friends now." Chu Li scoffed. "We're not friends. If we trust each other, then we are friends. I treat Brother Zhao as a friend." When Ting Dao chuckled, "No discord, no concord. Now that I'm related to the Holy Church of Light, I'll definitely look for Brother Zhao for a drink when I have the time." Chu Li waved his hand and said, "I don't have time to deal with you. It's better if you don't come. Goodbye." With that, he turned around and left. Li Ruolin followed him out of the room. When Ting Dao raised his voice, "Brother Zhao, we'll meet again." Chu Li waved his hand at the people behind him. Then, he took large strides and sped up. Finally, he activated the time steps and sped up alongside Li Ruolin. Li Ruolin followed him without saying a word. She knew that she was to blame for this matter. She was too careless and was easily tricked to come here. She was too worried and confused and couldn't keep her cool. Chu Li did not say a word and continued on his way. He descended the mountain where the Taoist temple was located and headed towards falling Autumn City. "Junior brother, regarding this matter," Li Ruolin sighed. "I've implicated you." Chu Li glanced at him and said nothing. Li Ruolin said, "The situation at that time was too realistic. I really thought that they had captured Senior Brother G. You know that Senior Brother G can't fight back now and is almost a cripple. It's very easy for him to be captured." "Yes, I understand." Chu Li waved his hand and interrupted her. "It's not that you're careless. It's just that when Ting Dao is too cunning, it's impossible to guard against him." "Ah, Li Rulin sighed. Chu Li replied, I was planning to hand the detachment pills to the saint so that she could exchange the less ultimate sword with the Sword Moon sect. I didn't expect when Ting Dao to be in such a hurry and use these tricks. I have no choice but to make the exchange now. Li Ruolin's eyes flickered as she quickly understood Chu Li's plan. It's my fault, Li Ruolin said apologetically. Chu Li shook his head. He always has a way to trick you. You can't defeat when Ting Dao, so this situation is inevitable. Let's return to the Great Light Peak as soon as possible before he keeps pestering us. All right, Li Ruolin nodded vigorously. It was a sin for her to diminish Junior Brother Zhao's contribution so that he could not advance further in front of the saint. Perhaps he was one step away from becoming a priest at a crucial time. The two of them quietly returned to the backyard of the town defense prefecture where Lu Zhen and the others were waiting. When Xian saw Li Ruolin, he went forward excitedly. He wanted to hug Li Ruolin in his arms, but when he saw that Li Ruolin was calm and unfazed, he could only suppress his urge. Zhou Jinsheng grinned excitedly and asked what happened. When Li Ruolin told him what had happened, everyone shook their heads helplessly. When faced with such a situation, not to mention Li Ruolin, anyone else would not be able to do anything about it. They would chase after him out of concern and end up in such a situation. When Ting Dao was extremely cunning and had only taken advantage of this period of time. However, they also knew that such an invitation could turn into a forced one at any time. If Chu Li did not rush over in time, the outcome would be unpredictable. Since when did when Ting Dao become so easily convinced? Xian said angrily. He felt inexplicably nervous when he thought about the dangerous situation Li Ruolin was in. He still wants the detachment pills. Chu Li shook his head. Forget it. Let's not bother about him for now. Senior Sister Lu, 1 strengthening pill a day and 2 detachment pills each time. All right. Lu Zhen nodded. She had been quiet, as if she was indifferent to everything. She only held Li Ruolin's hand without saying a word. She was actually enduring the pain in her shoulder. We should go, Chu Li said. Let's return to the Great Light Peak as soon as possible. Yes, let's go. Zhou Jinsheng and Xian nodded immediately. Li Ruolin said, Senior Sister Lu, let's go back together. It's not good to stay here any longer. Lu Zhen nodded. She knew that Mo Qianjun wanted her to leave as soon as possible. She had become a burden. Indeed, Mo Qianjun could not wait for all of them to leave. After all, they would only be a burden if they stayed. Therefore, the next morning, they left Falling Autumn City. Zhou Jinsheng and Xian could not use their light body techniques, so they rode on fine horses. Mo Qianjun gave each of them a horse and sent them off personally. Chu Li shook his head when he saw the satisfied look on his face. If he knew that Bai Feng and the others had already set up a big formation, he would not be so excited. He would not be able to get the credit for defending Falling Autumn City this time. Cheng Sun and Cheng Lin's formation was set up more smoothly than expected. It was completed on the second night, but it was not activated yet. It could be activated at any time if the army attacked. Everyone rode on horses and galloped away. Lu Zhen had been quiet throughout the journey. Chu Li knew that she was in great pain. The detachment pill did not feel good, and her entire arm was probably in pain. Although she had lost her arm, the pain was still there. Lu Zhen did not groan at all. She even tried to hide her pain. However, Li Ruolin and the others knew that she was not feeling well when they saw her pale face. Therefore, they did not disturb her and continued their journey in silence. On the morning of the 5th day, they arrived at the Great Light Peak. A cheer broke the silence. Li Ruolin held Lu Zhen's left arm and was overjoyed. Lu Zhen's left arm had indeed grown back. Zhou Jinsheng quickly leaned over to look at Lu Zhen's fair left arm. He laughed excitedly and held Chu Li's hand tightly. He said gratefully, Junior Brother Zhao, you're really good. You're really good. Chu Li was helpless at his enthusiasm and pulled his hand out with much effort. Xian was also amazed. I didn't expect her arm to grow back. The detachment pill is amazing. Who would be afraid of getting hurt with this? Chapter 37:47. The next evening, they arrived at the Great Light Peak. As soon as Chu Li returned to the spirit medicine nursery, Zhou Huang ran over and complained that the efficiency of the spirit medicine nursery was too low and unbearably slow. The spirit medicine nursery could not do without him. Instead of risking his life outside, it was better to stay in the spirit medicine nursery. At that moment, a young lady in green entered the spirit medicine nursery and approached Chu Li. "Junior brother Zhao, the saint invites you." Chu Li gave a fist salute and followed her to the Divine Light Basilica. The setting sun dyed the Divine Light Basilica a rosy color. Every stone on the floor of the basilica glowed with a warm luster, as if they were made of white jade. Sun Mingwei sat behind the desk. Her white dress and veil were dyed rosy as well. Her beautiful almond-shaped eyes were bright and captivating. She looked thoughtfully at the 2 sword manuals and a bottle of detachment pills on the desk. She did not expect Zhao Dai to be so capable. Everywhere he went, the world was turned upside down. It was as if he was shrouded in an invisible layer of luck, as if God was taking care of him. It was the Holy Church of Light's fortune that such a person could enter. But there was a very important problem. She could not see through his thoughts. When he was still weak, this problem was not worth mentioning. A small disciple could not do anything. However, in just a few months, he had accumulated a huge amount of merit and was promoted to a patrol. Once he became a patrol, he would not be a small figure. She needed to observe him carefully and let him become an altar leader. An altar master oversaw a region. If he were to have second thoughts, it would be too damaging to the Holy Church. Moreover, he was too young and was an outer peak disciple. He had no foundation in the Holy Church. If he suddenly rose to a high position and became an altar leader, all the disciples in the Holy Church would not be convinced. Experience was a powerful thing, and sometimes it was even more powerful than martial arts. Now, he needed to suppress him a little, slow down his speed of ascension, and build up his experience. Only then would he be able to walk more steadily, and also make others feel more at ease. An altar master who was too young was not a good thing. His actions were not steady, and people could not be at ease. If he was impulsive, the Holy Church would suffer heavy losses, and the consequences would be unpredictable. Thousands of thoughts flashed through her mind. Sun Mingwei looked up at Chu Li. Chu Li stood tall and proud in the main hall, looking at her calmly. His gaze was bold, and he did not have the slightest bit of respect and admiration that the other disciples had. His face was still as ugly as ever, with triangular eyes, thick lips, and a flat nose. Sun Mingwei smiled. Looks were insignificant to her. She had seen so many handsome men and beautiful women that she was numb to looks. She only cared about talent and ability, martial arts, and loyalty. From today onwards, you will be a patrol, Sun Mingwei said. Chu Li gave a fist salute and said, "Thank you, Saint. You deserve it." Sun Mingwei said, "The less ultimate sword is indeed powerful, even more so than the Great Light Sword technique. You have contributed greatly." Chu Li nodded. "You want to be promoted to Altar Master immediately?" "Yes." "Because of Altar Leader MO?" "Yes." "Unfortunately, you won't be able to do as you wish," Sun Mingwei said calmly. "Your martial arts skills are not enough to become an Altar Leader, no matter how great your contributions are." Chu Li was stunned for a moment. Then he understood. Martial arts and contributions were the 2 legs of advancement. Neither could be dispensed with. Now that his cultivation level was crippled, he had to cultivate again. Not to mention, to hide the fact that the Earth Matrix and Reincarnation Scripture could restore his martial arts. He had not restored his martial arts. Even if he restored his martial arts, his cultivation level was not enough to become an altar leader. His light blade was powerful, but his lack of cultivation level was a shortcoming. He did not realize this when he was a branch leader, but if he wanted to be promoted to altar leader, he would need to have a sufficient cultivation level, not just the level of the light blade. There was a fixed standard for how deep one's cultivation level was needed. The Great Light Scripture itself did not have levels, only levels. If one continued to cultivate it, the power of the divine light body would continue to increase, and one could even ascend to heaven with this scripture. In ancient times, There were many seniors who ascended to heaven with rainbow transformation, but after the spirit beast returned to 100,000 hills, no one succeeded. Most importantly, the Great Light Scripture was divided into two parts, so the people from the Holy Church of Light did not know if they could ascend to heaven. Now, the seniors who lived in seclusion at Great Light Peak were all filled with hope. They cultivated the Great Light Scripture with all their might, hoping to ascend to heaven before their lifespans ended. "I've decided to let you join the Herbalist Hall," Sun Mingyue said. "Your talent in alchemy is more amazing than your talent in martial arts. Go to the Herbalist Hall and practice alchemy. You can also improve your cultivation level and prepare to be promoted to altar leader." "I don't want to be a pill refining master." Sun Mingyue's eyes flashed, and she said, "This is my decision. Just follow my orders." Chu Li shook his head. "Forgive me for not following your orders. I don't want to be a pill refining master. I want to become an altar leader as soon as possible." Mo Qianjuan's actions in falling Autumn City made him understand that a higher rank could crush a person. If he had not been smart enough to see through his tricks before Mo Qianjun, things would not have gone so smoothly. If Mo Qianjun did not use his tricks and asked him to hand over the detachment pills, if he did not, Mo Qianjun would have a legitimate reason to deal with him, or even order Li Rulin and the others to take him down. If he did not become an altar leader as soon as possible, this kind of situation would happen again, and Mo Qianjun would not let him go. He could not harm him with his identity as an altar leader, but he could humiliate him. Sun Mingyue's tone was calm, and there was no change in it. "Do you know the consequences of disobeying my orders?" Chu Li asked. "What consequences?" "You'll be demoted by 1 level, Sun Mingyue said. "If you disobey me again, you'll be demoted by 2 levels, and if you can't, you'll be chased out of Great Light Peak." Chu Li fell silent, and he lowered his head to think. Sun Mingyue looked at him quietly, and her eyes were cold and calm. After a while, she said calmly, "Have you thought it through? I don't want to be a pill refining master." Chu Li lifted his head to look at her, and his gaze was firm. "Forget about demoting me by 1 level. Even if I'm chased out of Great Light Peak, I'll still say the same thing. I won't become a pill refining master." "All right, I'll fulfill your wish." Sun Mingyue nodded and said, "You're a branch leader now. Go back to Gale City and stay there." She felt that it was a pity that he was stubborn and unruly, and she could not let him become an altar leader. He was like a horse that could not be controlled, and the faster it ran, the more trouble it would cause. This kind of person needed to be tempered. First, it was to get rid of his unruly nature, and second, it was to observe his loyalty and see if he could withstand the test. If it was someone else, she would not need to go through so much trouble. She could see through him at a glance, and she could only use this kind of manipulation technique on Chu Li. It would be a pity to give up on such a genius. She needed to polish him well, and while doing so, she could see through his qualities. Only then, she could put him to good use and make him an altar leader or priest. Chu Li Fizz saluted. "Understood." Sun Mingyue waved her hand. "Go." Without another word, Chu Li turned around and left with his head held high. He strode out of Divine Light Basilica and soon stepped into the strong wind as he walked down the mountain. Sun Mingyue looked at his back thoughtfully. Chapter 3748. Chu Li's face darkened as he returned to the spirit medicine nursery and went into his house to pack his things. He left the treasured pill scripture and 100 herb scripture behind, as he did not want to bring them along. The scriptures were imprinted in his mind, and he could redraw them whenever he needed them. While he was packing, Zhou Huang and Su Jingya came in. "What's going on? You're going out again." Zhou Huang shouted in dissatisfaction as soon as he entered. "Young fellow, don't forget that you're now a member of the spirit medicine nursery." Su Jingya was surprised. "Senior brother Zhao, you have another mission?" Chu Li stopped and Fizz saluted. "Elder Zhou, junior sister Su, I'm leaving the spirit medicine nursery for good this time. I'm going down the mountain." "What's going on?" Zhou Huang was displeased. "You haven't even been here for a year." Chu Li said, I'm a branch leader now. I'm going to Gale City to be a branch leader. I won't be coming back. Branch leader? Zhou Huang frowned. I remember now. You're a branch leader, but why are you in such a hurry to leave? You should first plant a type of spirit herb in the spirit medicine nursery to accumulate some credits. To Zhao Dai, it was easy to accumulate merits in the spirit medicine nursery. However, it was not so easy to gain merits outside. He had to fight to the death and snatch merits amidst the flashes of swords and sabers. Even if he had to fight to the death, he might as well gain merits by planting spiritual herbs for a few days. Chu Li shook his head. I disobeyed the saint's order and didn't want to be a pill-refining master in the herbalist hall, but the saint asked me to go to Gale City. Out of sight, out of mind. The herbalist hall. Zhou Huang gritted his teeth. They must have instigated the saint. Chu Li said, I'm talented in alchemy since I've refined the detachment pill. That's why the saint wants me to refine pills, but I don't want to do it. Detachment pill? Zhou Huang quickly recalled and looked at Chu Li in shock. Chu Li scoffed. Gale City is good too. It's a carefree place. Good my asterisk SS. Zhou Huang glared at him and shook his head. That's the far west. You've been banished. He did not think of going to the saintess to plead for leniency, as it was useless. The saintess was a woman of her word, and she would never go back on her word. Not to mention him pleading for leniency. Even if the cult master personally spoke, it would be useless. Su Jingya stood to the side, feeling a little reluctant. Although junior brother Zhao was a little ugly, he was easy to get along with, and he didn't have any bad intentions. She was reluctant to part with him, but she didn't show it. She just smiled calmly and said goodbye to him, telling him to come back often when he had time. Elder Zhou, I will leave sooner or later. All good things must come to an end. Chu Li packed a bag and slung it over his shoulder. I'll come back often. If you need anything, send a letter to Gale City and I'll receive it. You rascal, Zhou Huang said hatefully. How dare you go head-on against the saint? You're simply courting death. Remember this lesson and be more obedient next time. The saint is ruthless. No matter how talented you are, she won't spoil you. Chu Li curled his lips disapprovingly. He gave a fist salute and turned around to leave. Li Ruolin hurried over as soon as he arrived at the entrance of the valley. She was panting heavily, and her charming face was dyed red. She looked tender and alluring. Chu Li closed fist saluted. Senior sister, are you here to bid farewell to me too? Zhao Dai, have you lost your mind? Li Ruolin yelled. Her charming face was covered with a layer of frost. She rushed over as soon as she received the news. She was furious on the way here because Zhao Dai had been kicked out of his post as soon as he was promoted to patrol. He was demoted to a branch leader and was even sent back to Gale City. It was not easy to be promoted from a branch leader to a patrol. He was lucky that he was in Falling Autumn City and encountered the Sword Moon sect. That was why Zhao Dai must have misunderstood and thought that it was easy to be promoted to a patrol. That was why he did not know how to cherish it. Many branch leaders could not become patrols their entire lives. Li Ruolin was lucky to have gone through a narrow escape before she managed to become a patrol. Zhao Dai, on the other hand, was ruined with just one sentence. She hated him so much that she wanted to give him 2 tight slaps across his face. Chu Li said nonchalantly, Senior sister, you're not here to bid farewell to me. Do you know what a stupid thing you've done? Li Ruolin became even more furious when she saw his nonchalant expression. Her chest rose and fell violently as she said angrily, Do you know what you've done today? I don't want to be a pill refining master. It's fine to occasionally refine pills. I'd rather die than sit in front of an alchemy furnace all day long. Chu Li said snappily. What's wrong with that? You? Li Ruolin gritted her teeth and said angrily. Can't you just bear with it? It's not like you're a pill refining master for the rest of your life. Who could do what they like? I have no choice. I can't bear with it. I can only refuse, Chu Li said. This is good too. I'll be more at ease in Gale City. You could be a branch leader for the rest of your life in Gale City. Li Ruolin said angrily. It's not bad to be a branch leader for the rest of my life. Chu Li smiled. I have the final say in Gale City. No one can tell me what to do. Shut up. Li Ruolin looked around and quickly pulled Chu Li. Let's go. She glared at Chu Li hatefully. If the saint heard what he said, she would definitely give him the cold shoulder. He would not be able to make a comeback anymore. He was simply shooting his mouth off. The two of them left the valley and soon arrived at Chu Li's small light peak. The two of them stood in front of the thatched cottage amidst the howling wind and looked at each other. Li Ruolin was furious while Chu Li was indifferent. He looked at her impudently. Li Ruolin could not stand his stare and broke the silence first. What are you thinking? I do what I want to do. Chu Li scoffed. No one can force me to do what I don't want to do. Not even the saint. Do you think you can convince the saint? Li Ruolin said snappily. She's the saint. The saint can't just say whatever she wants. Chu Li said unhappily. I don't want to be a pill refining master. You're being unreasonable. You just have to listen to the saint's orders. Li Ruolin scoffed. If the saint wants you to die, you shouldn't hesitate. Of course, the saint won't give such orders, but you're disloyal to the Holy Church of Light if you don't listen to the saint. Do you know what that means? Chu Li scoffed. At most, I'll be sent to Gale City. Is there anything worse? Are you willing to be a branch leader for the rest of your life? Li Ruolin said. If it were someone else, they would have become a branch leader in their past life. You're different. You're a genius in martial arts, and you're good at making contributions. You're destined to be a priest. Chu Li said, what's the point of being a priest if I have to do something I don't like? Who can do as they please in this world? Li Ruolin said earnestly. Look at the saint. She's a powerful person. I think she can do as she pleases, right? No. Chu Li shook his head. Li Ruolin said, you're quite understanding. Even the saint can't live as she pleases, let alone us. That's why you should be more obedient. Cultivate properly in Gale City and don't cause any more trouble. I'll find a chance to mention you to the saint. Sigh. Chu Li shook his head. Forget it. Don't mention me. I'm doing fine in Gale City. Li Ruolin rolled her eyes at him and waved her hand. Let's go. I'll come and see you. She glided down and stepped on the treetops. Soon, she disappeared into the dense forest. Her green robe blended in with the forest. Chapter 3749. P.S. The 32nd Guild Master has been born, Guild Master X. P.S. Finally, there's another Guild Master. I'm so excited, but my fingernails are inflamed and I can't stand the pain of typing. My updates aren't good enough. I'm ashamed to see anyone. I might not be able to update too much today, so please write as much as you can. Forgive me, forgive me. Lung Tao sat on a tall horse. His plump body was straight, but his head was drooping. He had an unwilling expression on his face. There were 2 guards beside him, and one of them was Xiao San. Behind them were 4 protectors. Chu Li recognized one of the protectors. He was also a grandmaster from the Crouching Bull Mountain. It seemed like Zhuge Tian's words were quite effective. Xiao San was indeed here. Imperial Crown Prince, look who's behind you. Xiao San saw Co. Shi and the others. He quickly lowered his voice and said in surprise, King An's imperial residence. Little sister Lung Xiao. Lung Tao's face lit up as he turned around to look at her. When he saw Lung Xiao, who was sitting on the horse with her back straight, a delighted expression appeared on his face. He laughed and said, I didn't expect to meet little sister Lung Xiao so coincidentally. As soon as he finished speaking, he tugged on the reins and turned the horse around to gallop back. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of King An's imperial residence. Lu Xing and the group of bodyguards blocked his way expressionlessly. Their imposing manner was eerie, but they did not give way and did not say a word. Lung Tao stopped his horse and glared at them in dissatisfaction. He waved his chubby white and tender hand and said, move aside, I have something to say to Sister Lung Xiao. Lu Xing and the rest sat motionless on their horses. The horses also seemed to be rooted to the ground. Lu Xing and the rest stared coldly at Lung Tao, especially Zhu Tianhua, whose gaze was even more eerie. Lung Tao looked at the tall and burly Zhu Tianhua and said unhappily, Zhu Tianhua, you're a traitor and you still have the cheek to glare at me. Crown Prince Tao, please behave yourself. Zhu Tianhua scoffed in a deep voice. Yo, you've got guts. Who gave you the guts to say such nasty things? Your logic isn't bad. Why? You won't even allow me to see little sister Cold Autumn? You seem to be a steward, not third uncle, right? Imperial Crown Prince, you've improved a lot. Chuli nodded. All right, I'll go back and report to my superiors. Please wait for a while. Thank you. Lung Tao proudly snorted. He felt that he had finally made a comeback and gained a lot of face. He looked at Xiao San with approval, and Xiao San immediately smiled. Chuli adjusted the reins and tapped the horse's abdomen lightly. Then, he turned to Lung Xiao and the others and said with a smile, "It seems that Crown Prince Tao has fallen for Miss Xiao. Do you want to meet her? Why would I want to see him?" Lung Xiao curled her red lips. Lung Qing said, "Little sister, scold him when you have the chance." All right. Lung Xiao thought about it and agreed. Head chief, his bodyguard Xiao San is especially annoying. How so? Chuli asked. His eyes are sneaky. One look and you can tell that he's not a good person. Moreover, his demeanor is very presumptuous. Lung Xiao scoffed and said, "It's as if he can kill us at any time. Looks like he was born in the mountains." Chuli nodded. It doesn't matter if he lacks respect for the emperor. I'll find a chance to teach him a lesson. Lung Xiao revealed a smile. Lung Qing said, "Head chief, be careful. This person is sinister and cunning." Chuli nodded and raised his voice. "Lu Xing, let Crown Prince Tao come over, but he's alone." "Yes." Lu Xing and the others closed fists saluted. Xuaning Yu, Song Luiying, Co Shi, and Shao Qi sat quietly on their horses, smiling as they looked over. The main purpose of the hunting ceremony was for the crown princes and princesses to socialize. They would not interfere easily. Xiaosan glared at Lu Xing and the others angrily, but did not cause any more trouble. He closed fist saluted. "Be careful, Crown Prince." Lung Tao took a deep breath and nodded. He looked like he was about to enter the tiger's den. He was anxious. He felt relaxed when Chuli was not around. Even when Lung Xiao and the others looked at him coldly, he did not feel anything. He did not care if he was scolded or beaten. However, once Chuli appeared, he immediately felt uncomfortable as if he was in danger at any time. Chuli had hit him a few times and it had traumatized him. When he saw Chuli smile, he felt a little guilty. Chuli did not care about Lung Tao. Instead, he looked at Xiao San. Of course, Xiao San did not recognize his identity. When he was disguised as Zhuge Tian, he asked Xiao San to bring people to the imperial residence of King Cheng. It seemed that he made the right move. Xiao San had already gained Lung Tao's trust and became his confidant. The identity of the Crouching Bull Mountain was enough to make King Cheng feel at ease. The prince's mansion only dared to use people like him who were well-known and had a sect. 9 out of 10, the prince's mansion would reject those with mysterious backgrounds to avoid trouble. Even if they used them, they would only use them once. Lung Tao approached Lung Xiao and Lung Qing. He smiled stiffly and closed fist saluted. "Sister Lung Xiao, long time no see. We met 10 days ago," Lung Xiao said impatiently. "Lung Tao, if you have something to say it quickly. Don't talk nonsense." Cough. Lung Tao relaxed. Lung Xiao's expression was normal. He smiled. "It's nothing. I just came to say hello. Sister Lung Xiao has become more beautiful." "I know, so I'm still talking nonsense. The hunting ceremony this time will still be hosted by King Uncle Bao," Lung Tao said. "Fourth aunt will be here too." "Fourth aunt will be here too?" Lung Xiao was surprised. Fourth aunt was King Ping's consort. She rarely left King Ping's imperial residence. Although she had dealings with the imperial residences, she was very indifferent. It was as if she looked down on the imperial residences. "Of course," Lung Tao said proudly. "It's rare to see fourth aunt. I specially asked around." You don't have any other skills, but you have a lot of gossip." Lung Xiao scoffed. "All right, we have to hurry. We don't have time to chat with you. Move aside. Let's go together." Lung Tao smiled cheekily. "No need." Lung Xiao waved her hand impatiently. "Move aside, don't block the way." She knocked on the horse's belly and started to move forward. Chapter 3750. Chuli stood by the side and let the horse gallop forward lazily. His mind was on King Ping. Why did Consort Ping suddenly appear? It was obvious that King Ping was behind this. Otherwise, Consort Ping would not have suddenly left the residence. King Ping had always been in an awkward situation. He had made great contributions to the imperial court. Everyone could see that the emperor was hesitant and indecisive, and so were the courtiers. If they let go of the South Mountain, and there would be no more wars at the border, King Ping's military power could be removed. However, the situation was getting more and more tense. The Li dynasty was getting stronger and stronger, and it was only a matter of time before a war broke out. If they did not remove King Ping's military power, he would make more contributions once the war started. He would be in a situation where he could not be rewarded and could only be given the title of Crown Prince. If they removed King Ping's military power, he would not be able to withstand the Li dynasty's cavalry once the war started. Once the border was in a state of emergency, King Ping would have to take action. By then, King Ping's prestige would increase, and no one would be able to stop him from ascending to the title of Crown Prince. However, the courtiers had chosen King Jing as the Crown Prince. In their eyes, King Ping was just a martial artist, and it was not a good thing for a martial artist to rule the country. Chuli pondered as he walked, and unknowingly walked for a few miles. Rumble! The ground shook like thunder. A group of knights galloped to their heart's content and soon caught up. It's Granduncle Bao. Lung Tao turned to look at the knights. Chuli gestured for the protectors to move aside. As the knights approached, the ground shook even more. Fortunately, the road had been sprinkled with water in advance to moisturize the soil. It was neither muddy nor dusty, so even though the horses were galloping, there was no yellow dust. It was very clean. The leading knight was Prince Bao. He was dressed in purple and did not look old at all when he galloped on his horse. Instead, he was full of energy and his eyes were like lightning. Nay, Prince Bao was about to gallop away. He usually ignored juniors like them, but he suddenly pulled on the reins. He stopped his horse abruptly. The 8 knights reined in their horses at the same time. The horses neighed incessantly as they stood firmly on the same spot, still protecting Prince Bao in the middle. It showed that the 8 protectors were highly skilled and had quick reflexes. Prince Bao laughed. Chuli, when did you come out of isolated cultivation? Chuli gave a fist salute and smiled. Greetings, Your Royal Highness. I just came out of isolated cultivation today. All right, let's go together. Prince Bao waved his hand and smiled. There won't be any danger here. You don't have to protect them. Yes. Chuli smiled. He turned around and made a closed fist salute to Xiao Shi, Xuaning Yu, Song Luiying, and the others. Go! Xiao Shi nodded lightly. Xiao Shi and the ladies saluted Prince Bao with their fists. Prince Bao waved his hand to indicate that there was no need to be overly courteous. He had no intention of talking to them. Chuli approached Prince Bao and smiled. Your Royal Highness's cultivation level has improved tremendously. Congratulations. Ha! Prince Bao whipped his horse and rode alongside Chuli. He laughed and said, While you've been in isolated cultivation, I haven't been idle either. The two of them were chatting and laughing as the horses under them trotted forward. The 8 guards were closely guarding them. Lung Tao said indignantly, Granduncle Bao Wang is too biased. He just had to talk to Chuli, really. Could it be that Granduncle Bao Wang is looking for you? Why don't you see if you're worthy? Lung Qiu glared at him and scoffed. Chief Chu is just an outsider. Not only is he not biased towards his own people, but he values outsiders more. How unfair. Lung Tao said, You're more capable than the head chief. Lung Qiu curled her lips. If you want to be valued, you need to show your capabilities first. Other than having a body full of fat and eating like a pig, what other capabilities do you have? Younger sister Lung Qiu, that's not right. My martial arts is still all right. Lung Tao was unconvinced. Then do you want to compete? Lung Qiu scoffed. Lung Tao quickly shook his head. No matter how strong he was, he would not be able to defeat Lung Qiu. Lung Qiu's swordsmanship had improved by leaps and bounds and was unstoppable. It was truly uncanny. Could it be that she was a genius in martial arts, and his aptitude was that bad? He heard from his father that his aptitude was not bad either. Xiao sure saw Shao-Chi staring at Chu Li's back and smiled. Prince Bao and Chu Li are friends despite the difference in age. Shao-Chi nodded and looked at Chu Li's receding figure. Chu Li sat on a horse and rode beside Prince Bao as they chatted about the fairy's capital. This time, Madame Ping will be attending the ceremony too. Prince Bao shook his head and sighed. This is troublesome. Chu Li asked, is Consort Ping difficult to get along with? That's not it. Prince Bao shook his head. Although Xian Xiang is a little cold, she has a good heart. It's just that she doesn't like to interact with people and would rather stay in the residence to take care of the flowers and plants. Moreover, her identity is too sensitive. King Jing's wife will be coming too. When that time comes, Prince Bao said with a troubled expression, I'm not afraid of them quarreling because they don't have the temperament to quarrel. I'm just afraid that the scribes will do something or someone with ulterior motives will stir up trouble. The two consorts will definitely restrain the servants, Chu Li said. I hope so. This is such a tough job, but my brother insisted that I do it. Prince Bao smiled bitterly. He thinks that it's a good job. The Emperor is raising hopes for your Royal Highness to take over the House of Deva in the future, right? You can see that too? The Emperor's intention is very clear. Prince Bao shook his head. I really don't want to be the chief of the House of Deva and offend people. That's not up to you, your Royal Highness. Chu Li smiled. If the Emperor thinks it's suitable, then it's enough. I can't help it. Prince Bao sighed. Sometimes I'm quite envious of you. Although you're a chief, you're free and unfettered. You can go into isolated cultivation whenever you want and no one can control you. Unlike me, I'm busy with mundane matters. Everyone knew about the situation in King An's imperial residence. Even King An could not do anything to him if he was a rank 1 chief. Chu Li could not help but laugh. As the two talked, they had unknowingly traveled more than 10 miles. All of a sudden, the sky brightened up as if another sun had appeared. A door of light appeared in the sky, and there was a faint sound lingering in the air. A beam of white light shot up from Luoyang and into the door of light, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The light gate slowly dissipated and the sky returned to normal, as if what happened earlier was just an illusion. Chu Li frowned and his face darkened. Prince Bao's face darkened as well. He gritted his teeth and scoffed. The Holy Church of Light, Chu Li said, wherever they appear, nothing good will happen. Damn it, Prince Bao scoffed. They've already ascended to heaven and achieved great merit. I wonder who they're trying to assassinate this time. Chu Li nodded. Based on the situation, it could be deduced that it was an assassination attempt by a disciple of the Holy Church of Light. As for whether it was a success or not, they were already more than 10 miles away from Fairy's capital. Chu Li's omniscient mirror could not observe them and could not see clearly. Prince Bao rubbed the area between his eyebrows. I'm afraid that my uneasiness has something to do with me. Chu Li's expression changed, and he frowned. Could it be Brother Xiaoxi? Prince Bao turned his head and shouted, Jiahe, go back and take a look. Find out what happened. Yes, Your Royal Highness. A middle-aged protector fist saluted and responded. He leaped down from his horse and disappeared in the blink of an eye like a gust of wind. Prince Bao said, We'll have news soon. Chu Li said, I hope they don't stir up any more trouble. He found it strange. Logically speaking, the Holy Church of Light should be fully focused on dealing with the Li dynasty. They should not be in the mood to deal with the Ji dynasty. Why would they stir up trouble again? A moment later, Jiahe appeared in front of the horse like a gust of wind. He fist saluted and said, Your Royal Highness, I found out that Consort Ping was assassinated as soon as she left the imperial residence. Assassinated? Prince Bao asked. Chapter 3751. P.S. I can only write so much today. It's too depressing. Please forgive me. Die? Prince Bao frowned and asked, How did he die? Jiahe lowered his head and said, The corpses are shared. We can't save them. Damn it. Prince Bao clenched his teeth and said hatefully, "What a vicious tactic. Someone of Consort Ping's status would definitely have a life-saving panacea. Even if she died, as long as she did not die for more than 2 hours, she could still be saved after consuming the panacea. However, there was no way to share her corpse. Once the corpse was separated, the soul would leave the body and enter the cycle of reincarnation. No matter how miraculous the spirit pill was, it would not be able to summon the soul back." Chu Li's face darkened. He had never met Consort Ping before, but he had met King Ping before. He could imagine how furious King Ping would be when he received this news. He might even send out his troops. It was said that King Ping and Consort Ping had a very good relationship. How could King Ping not avenge Consort Ping's death? Prince Bao turned around and said, "Chu Li, come with me to take a look." Chu Li smiled bitterly. "Your Royal Highness, I think I'll pass. After all, this is no small matter." He really wanted to go and take a look, but this matter was too important. He might have to keep it a secret and hide it from King Ping, who was at the border. If he were the emperor, he would first remove King Ping's military power and then let him return to Fairy's capital. Otherwise, with the military power in his hands, there was no telling what he would do in a fit of rage. However, King Ping was extremely well informed, so it would be difficult for him to keep this a secret. Once the secret was leaked, the emperor would definitely hold him accountable. Anyone who knew about this would get into trouble and would be investigated thoroughly. He did not want to get into this trouble. He still had to make a trip to Gale City. If he did not go there for too long, the saint would become suspicious. Prince Bao said, "You're already involved. Don't even think about escaping. Go." He knew Chu Li's capabilities, especially when it came to dealing with the Holy Church of Light. Chu Li nodded helplessly. The two of them walked back and met Xiao Shi and the others. Lung Tao was still fawning over Lung Xiao with a cheeky smile on his face. After being scolded by Lung Xiao a few times, he felt that Lung Xiao was exceptionally pleasing to the eye, and it was very comfortable to play with her. Even if Lung Xiao scolded him, he would still gladly endure it and did not care at all. The psychological advantage that he had cultivated from Lung Xiao since he was young had not been eliminated. This was not love between a man and a woman. After all, the two of them were blood relatives. It was more like friendship. Seeing them walking back, Lung Tao asked doubtfully, "Why is Granduncle Bao Wang back? It can't be an invitation, right?" "Dream on," Lung Xiao snorted. Prince Bao and Chu Li walked side by side. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived in front of them, but they did not stop. Instead, they galloped forward. Lung Tao's hand froze in midair as he turned his head to look. Chu Li waved his hand and gestured for them to continue walking. Lung Xiao turned and glared at Lung Tao. "Let's go." Xiao Shi and the others were in a heated discussion. They did not know what had happened. Seeing that Chu Li did not say anything, Xiao Shi knew that it was a confidential matter. Otherwise, he would have come over to inform them and then followed Prince Bao. "What actually happened?" Xuanyu asked curiously. "Why did he suddenly run back?" "Don't worry about it for now. Let's continue to the enclosure," Xiao Shi said. Chu Li and Prince Bao rode their horses through the east gate. They did not dismount from their horses, but galloped along the main road in the center of the city. The central street was bustling with activity. It was paved with blue stone, clean and tidy. The horses' hooves gave off a crisp sound as they stepped on the blue stone. "Pedestrians, make way." Prince Bao's protectors shouted loudly. "His Royal Highness is in front of you. No one is to stop him." They were all people with profound cultivation levels. Their shouts were deafening. The pedestrians hurriedly made way for them. Chu Li and Prince Bao passed by as if they were walking in the sea. They galloped to King Ping's imperial residence in the west of the city in one go. Outside King Ping's imperial residence, more than 10 protectors in black stood with their hands on their swords. They guarded the entrance with tense expressions and a faint murderous aura. When they saw Prince Bao and Chu Li dismount from their horses, 2 protectors in black stepped forward and said, "The imperial residence is a restricted area. Please stay." Chu Li glanced at the 2 of them and asked, "Qi Ming, Zhao Yang, who's inside?" He immediately recognized these protectors in black as secret guardians from Secret Guardians Hall. He had a photographic memory and knew the names of every secret guardian he had seen. Centurion Shu, one of the protectors in black, said, "Commander Su has personally come. Inform him that this is Prince Bao." Chu Li said. The secret guardian, Qi Meng, was a middle-aged man with thick eyebrows and big eyes. He quickly nodded and went in. Su Huanda came out in a hurry. His originally stern expression became even more unpleasant. He came to the entrance of the imperial residence and gave a fist salute. "Greetings, Your Royal Highness." Prince Bao waved his hand. "How's the situation? Your Royal Highness, please come in and talk." Su Huanda looked at Chu Li. "Centurion Chu, you came at the right time. I was just about to look for you." Chu Li nodded. The three of them crossed the tall threshold of the imperial residence and stepped into the spacious front hall. The thick smell of blood hit them in the face and did not dissipate. The blood puddles on the ground showed the tragic battle earlier. Su Huanda brought the two of them to the main hall. There were 12 corpses in the main hall. Most of them did not have any external injuries. Their faces were golden with a hint of green. They were completely dead. The princess's body has been placed in the coffin. It's not appropriate to look at it. Su Huanda said, "Centurion Chu, take a closer look and see which sect did this." Chu Li looked at the 12 people and sighed. It's the Divine Light Fist, and it's very profound. It's not an ordinary disciple of the Holy Church of Light. It really is the Holy Church of Light. Su Huanda gritted his teeth. Chu Li said, "Looking at the injuries, there's only one person." "Yes," Su Huanda said. "Consort Zhu was about to leave the residence when this fellow from the Holy Church of Light suddenly rushed out and killed the consort with a single slash of his sword. After that, under the relentless attacks of the protectors, he performed the Holy Church of Light's secret skill and killed 12 protectors. These protectors were top-notch masters from the military. Each of them killed people like scything flax. However, they were all killed by this person. In the end, this person achieved perfection and stepped into the light boundary." Chu Li sighed. Perfection is when the secret skill of the scripture of great light is activated to the extreme. Moreover, these military masters can easily stimulate the potential of the Holy Church of Light's disciple and force him to achieve perfection. "Sai, this is troublesome." "It's very troublesome," Su Huanda said. "I've blocked the news. However, there are too many people, and they're outside the imperial residence. I'm afraid it'll be very difficult." Prince Bao said, "What did the emperor say?" "The emperor hasn't given any orders. I've just reported it." Su Huanda shook his head. "The murderer has passed away. We can't pursue him anymore. This is too frustrating. That's why we can't tell King Ping." Prince Bao scoffed. Chu Li said, "Your Royal Highness, with King Ping's ability, there's no way he can hide it. I'm guessing the news has already been sent out. It'll reach King Ping soon. What should we do?" Prince Bao frowned. "King Ping is young and impetuous. I'm afraid he'll get into big trouble." Chu Li nodded slowly. It was easy to guess what King Ping would do when he was furious. Chu Li said, "Commander Su, there's something fishy about this. From what I know, the Li dynasty and the Qiu dynasty are entangled with each other. They can't spare any attention to deal with us. Assassinating Consort Ping at this time is obviously to provoke King Ping and make him send out his troops." Centurion Chu, "Do you think it's not the Holy Church of Light?" Commander Su asked. Chapter 3752. Qiu Dynasty. It must be the Qiu dynasty's doing. Prince Bao's expression was grave as he said coldly. Chu Li said, "Your Royal Highness, based on my understanding, the Qiu dynasty is arrogant and doesn't take the Li dynasty seriously. They might not resort to such tactics. They want to defeat the Li dynasty fair and square because they think that the Li dynasty isn't a true cavalry. That's how the imperial court of the great Ji dynasty sees it, but their martial arts sects might not be obedient." Prince Bao sneered. "They are used to seeing themselves as scholars of the nation, interfering with the politics of the imperial court and manipulating the world. Chu Li nodded slowly. If that was the case, it made sense. What else do you have in mind, Centurion Chu? Su Wanda said, tell me all at once. Chu Li shook his head and said, I'm worried about the Fu dynasty or the Zheng dynasty. They might make a move too. The Holy Church of Light has never had any traitorous disciples. This isn't something an ordinary force can achieve. It might not be a betrayal. Prince Bao shook his head. The Holy Church of Light hates King Ping to the core. Killing his consort can be considered an act of revenge. Chu Li frowned. Wives and children should not be implicated. Life and death on the battlefield depends on one's own ability. That's what you think, but not everyone thinks the same. Prince Bao said, as long as there's a little encouragement. Your Highness, this kind of person can't be persuaded with just a little encouragement. Chu Li shook his head. To be able to kill 6 protectors in one go, he's not a nobody in the Holy Church of Light. 6. Prince Bao looked at him. Su Wanda was a little embarrassed. Chu Li sighed. The other 6 committed suicide. He could tell at a glance, but he didn't want to point it out. Su Wanda could tell as well. Sigh. Prince Bao shook his head. How can King Ping not be furious when he finds out? These protectors were obviously loyal to King Ping. They were ashamed of themselves for not being able to protect the princess consort, and were too ashamed to face King Ping. Hence, they decided to kill him as an apology. Chu Li sighed and remained silent. Su Wanda also shook his head. The atmosphere became heavy, and the bright sunlight could not dispel the chill in the hall. Get out of the way. A deep voice rang out, followed by hurried footsteps. Su Wanda's face darkened, and he turned his head to look. The burly King Jing, who was dressed in court attire, hurried over. His face was as dark as steel, and he looked extremely imposing. He strode into the main hall and gave a fist salute. Greetings, Uncle King. 6th brother, what are you doing here? Prince Bao frowned. I heard that 4th sister-in-law had an accident. King Jing's expression darkened. Has she been saved? Prince Bao sighed. The body has been decapitated. How can we save it? King Jing's eyes flashed. He clenched his fists so tightly that his veins popped out. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. If you don't move, don't blame me for being impolite. A loud shout came from outside, followed by the sound of footsteps. The stout Prince Chung swaggered in. Stepping over the screen, he turned his head and glared at him, saying hatefully, a dog who uses his master's power to bully others. He swaggered into the main hall. When he raised his head and saw that Prince Bao was there, he quickly put away his expression and cupped his fists respectfully. Uncle Bao, what are you doing here? What are you trying to do? Prince Bao said coldly. Prince Chung hurriedly said, I heard that Seesaw was attacked by an assassin. If I don't come and take a look, wouldn't I be too heartless? Look, 6th brother is here too. He glanced at Chu Li from the corner of his eye and scoffed to himself. King was not able to come over. He was busy recovering his martial arts all day and did not do any proper work. Yet he still wanted to fight for the position of crown prince? What a joke. Chu Li did a fist salute and did not say a word. Prince Bao waved his hand and said impatiently, You're just causing trouble by coming. If there's nothing else, go back. Uncle Bao, I want to ask those protectors, how did they protect Seesaw? We usually treat them well, but when it comes to the crucial moment, we can't let them off easily. They must pay with their lives for what they did to Seesaw. Prince Chung said loudly. They're all dead. Prince Bao said coldly. All dead? Prince Chung was stunned. Su Wanda said in a low voice, King Chung, there were a total of 12 protectors. 6 died in battle, while the other 6 committed suicide. This group of people has some guts. Prince Chung smacked his lips and scoffed. What's the use of them dying? Their lives are not as valuable as Seesaw's. You should stop talking, Prince Bao said coldly. Prince Chung Fist saluted and replied, Yes. He stared at Su Wanda with his big eyes. What's the use of you secret guardians? Didn't you receive any news beforehand? Are you deaf and mute? Did so many eyes and ears not work? Su Wanda was speechless. He sighed. It's our negligence. King Jing had been silent all this while, trying his best to suppress his anger. He could no longer hold it in and scoffed. The secret guardians hall, is getting worse. You were able to solve some big cases a while ago, but these few months, you've done nothing. It's time for you to reflect on yourself. Su Huanda's face darkened, and he said nothing. Theoretically, the princes and even Prince Bao had no right to criticize the Secret Guardians Hall. The Secret Guardians Hall only answered to the Emperor and did not care about anyone else. They did not even hesitate to investigate the princes. However, this was the Secret Guardians Hall's responsibility. They did not notice the assassin in advance and did not receive any news. Every Grand Master who entered Fairy's capital was under the surveillance of the Secret Guardians Hall and the Imperial House Protectors, but they did not notice the assassin. The secret skill of the Holy Church of Light to hide their martial arts was so powerful that they were helpless. Shuli did not say anything. He could understand the source of King Jing and King Cheng's anger. The fox grieved for the rabbit's death. Everything grieved for its own kind. Consort Ping had been assassinated so easily. What about them? It would not be difficult for them to assassinate them as well. It was as if there was a sword hanging above their heads, ready to fall at any moment. King Jing asked, "Can we find out who the culprit is?" Su Huanda shook his head. He has ascended to heaven and entered the great light surpassing state. King Jing's cheeks puffed up as he secretly gritted his teeth. In other words, he killed fourth sister-in-law and has ascended to heaven. King Cheng yelled. Su Huanda nodded bitterly. B** starred. King Cheng's eyes widened in anger. He stomped his feet and cursed. This B** starred. This was too depressing. The assassin killed fourth sister-in-law and helped him to ascend to heaven. Fourth sister-in-law's death became his stepping stone. He was now living freely in the great light-surpassing state, while they could do nothing about it. "Lower your voice," Prince Bao said coldly. "Do you think you can get him to come down by shouting? Fourth sister-in-law, you died so tragically. You're so pitiful." King Cheng yelled at the sky. "Shut up," Prince Bao yelled. If this news were to spread, it would only cause panic among the people. King Cheng could only shut his mouth and did not dare to show his dissatisfaction. "I don't believe that he's alone and has no accomplices," King Jing said coldly. "Could it be that this is a personal grudge and there's no mastermind? Can the Secret Guardians Hall find out who the mastermind is? It must be the Li dynasty." King Cheng scoffed. "The disciples of the Holy Church of Light haven't betrayed them yet. It must be the Li dynasty who did it." King Jing glared at him. "Ninth brother, use your brain. Then it must be the Qiu dynasty," King Cheng said hurriedly. "They took the opportunity to provoke us to deal with the Li dynasty and reduce their pressure. Find a mastermind and give fourth brother an explanation," King Jing said in a low voice. "The Secret Guardians Hall can do that, right?" Chapter 3753. Two middle-aged guards from the Imperial House strode in. They were dressed in purple robes, and their auras were as heavy as mountains. Every step they took caused the ground to tremble. It was as if two giant elephants were strolling in. When they arrived at the front of the main hall, their gazes swept across the crowd before they said in a deep voice, "The Emperor has spoken. Secret Guardians Hall's Su Huanda." Su Huanda walked down the stairs and cupped his fists as a salute. "I'm Su Huanda." A middle-aged protector raised his voice and said, "Order the Secret Guardians Hall to immediately investigate the case of Consort Ping's assassination. Find out who the mastermind is within 3 days." "Yes." Su Huanda cupped his fists and said in a deep voice. Another middle-aged Imperial House protector said, "During the investigation, no matter who it is, you don't have to worry. You must find a mastermind within 3 days. If there's any delay, the Secret Guardians Hall will be held responsible." "Yes," Su Huanda said in a deep voice. The two middle-aged Imperial House protectors saluted Prince Bao with their fists and turned to leave, ignoring King Jing and King Cheng. King Cheng pursed his lips, dissatisfied with their arrogance. King Jing, on the other hand, was extremely calm. He only stared at Su Huanda. Prince Bao sighed. "Commander Su, you're in trouble." Su Huanda smiled bitterly. This is our dereliction of duty, so we can only try our best to make up for it. Centurion Chu, you have to handle this personally. Chu Li gave a fist salute without hesitation. It's my duty. Humph, how arrogant. King Cheng glanced at him disdainfully. Chu Li looked at King Cheng. Does King Cheng think that I can't find anything? Do you really think that there's no case that you can investigate? King Cheng curled his lips and said, The person is gone. Where are you going to investigate? Chu Li asked, Commander Su, what did the murderer leave behind? A treasured armor and a blade, Su Huanda said. He pointed to the corner of the wall. Chu Li walked over and picked up the unusually soft and tough golden singlet. It looked like it was woven from golden threads, but the golden threads were definitely not this tough. He held the singlet between his palms and clasped his palms together to strike them. It is indeed a treasured armor, Chu Li said. It was able to weaken the palm force by 60 to 70%. He guessed that this old man was an accomplice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have committed suicide. He was a resolute person. Su Huanda picked up the old man's wrist and checked his pulse. After a cup of tea, Su Huanda nodded. He's alive, Chu Li said. Leave the rest of the public house. They're better at it. Leave it to us. Su Huanda said coldly. It won't be that easy for him to die. He sealed the old man's acupoints and carried him on his back. Chu Li said, Commander Su, you don't need me for the rest, so I won't be returning to the residence. Su Huanda nodded. All right, you be careful too. Chu Li gave a fist salute. Su Huanda gave a fist salute to Prince Bao before he fluttered away. King Cheng looked at Chu Li's disappearing silhouette and scoffed. He really thinks he's omnipotent, the first chief of Fairy's capital. King Jing frowned and said, Don't talk behind people's backs. Sixth brother, this kid is too arrogant. We have to teach him a lesson. Prince Cheng said, Let him know the immensity of heaven and earth. Didn't he just beat Lung Tao up twice? King Jing said faintly, You've spoiled your son too much. He deserves to be beaten. If he didn't, I was prepared to help you teach him a lesson. If you continue to spoil him like this, he'll definitely cause big trouble. No matter what, young Tao is still an imperial crown prince. Who does Chu Li think he is? He's just a protector. King Cheng scoffed. He's rank 1, higher than us. King Jing said faintly. King Cheng scoffed, but did not refute. The rank system was the foundation of the Ji dynasty and could not be shaken. Even the princes had to respect it. Both of them came from good families, but their ranks were not high enough. As the two were talking, Chu Li and Prince Bao returned. Prince Bao entered and said, Sixth brother, ninth brother, I have to continue hosting the hunting ceremony. I'll leave this place to you. Uncle Bao, you're back so soon. Did you find your accomplice? King Cheng asked. Yes, Prince Bao said. I've handed him over to the secret guardian's hall for interrogation. I think we'll have news soon. Chu Li, let's go. Chu Li nodded and gave a fist salute to King Jing and King Cheng before leaving King Ping's imperial residence with Prince Bao. King Cheng stared at them blankly. King Jing shook his head and called over the scribes and maids. He gave out orders one by one in an orderly and capable manner. Prince Bao and Chu Li rode side by side at the front of the group, while the 8 protectors followed closely behind them. Prince Bao's nerves were taut as he scanned his surroundings to guard against any possible assassinations. The death of Consort Ping was a lesson that they could not afford to relax even for a moment. How miraculous! Prince Bao exclaimed. He was filled with emotion when he saw how easy it was for Chu Li to find his accomplice. Chu Li said, Your Royal Highness, it's just a small trick. It's not worth mentioning. It's not worth mentioning. You're too humble. Prince Bao shook his head. It's not luck that you're able to make such a name for yourself. I can see that Su Huanda values you a lot. A tall tree attracts the wind. The 2 commanders are afraid that I'll be in the limelight and become the enemy of all the secret guardians. So they asked me to go into isolated cultivation. Chu Li shook his head and smiled bitterly. I didn't expect to encounter this as soon as I came out of isolated cultivation. Even God won't let you go. Prince Bao laughed. His heavy heart was relieved. Although Fairy's capital was not stable, there was still an extraordinary person like Chu Li. There was no need to worry too much. They went out of the east gate and galloped on their horses. They soon caught up with C.O. Sher and her entourage. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.